We are live. Well, I'm live. Tony's taking a piss. He asked me if we were going live. I said yes. He said, I'm going to go take a piss. Said, all right, well, that's fine. That's why we do the extra 15 minutes before technically the show starts. You know, we can sort of banter, be casual. I can talk aloud to myself. We got a whole, got a whole lot to talk about today. We're talking about our favorite MAGA celebrities, our favorite shitheads. So I'm excited about that. I can't remember why we decided to do this. We might have even talked about it on the show, but it felt like one of those things where it felt like a great idea in the moment. And then last night when I'm putting it together, I realized that I had okay, now I have to find out how many MAGA celebrities there actually are. It was complicated. It was a complicated time. It was very annoying because I would think somebody's MAGA because they just give off MAGA vibes. Like Gene Simmons, I thought, okay, Gene is obviously MAGA. Everything he does is MAGA. But then apparently he's out on Trump.
Simmons is out on Trump?
Yeah.
Huh. Was he in on Trump?
Yeah, he was.
So the tariffs are affecting all that Kiss merchandise, probably.
This was before the tariff shit. I think what it looks like is that his wife and daughter are out on Trump. Don't know about his son. Shout out to Nick Simmons, who was a comic book writer at one point, but they were out on Trump. And so I guess he just decided I'm no longer going to let my feelings be known. So I feel like he didn't make my cut. There are some people like that where it was like Jelly Roll, where we're like, obviously Jelly is MAGA. He hung out with Trump. He's at all the UFC events. He's country. And it was like, well, Jelly is like, he's a fence rider. So it's like, I can't say he's a Trump supporter. He never said he supports Trump. Like that would be, or like he hasn't gestured enough to me to meet that threshold.
Gotcha. Yeah.
There was also on this list that I've created, there's 41 people. I have kind of a strict no NASCAR racers, no country singers, no NFL quarterbacks, because then it's like
I could see if a country singer was like so far 10 toes down that it was like part of this whole.
But like we don't even know who they are. Like the one that kept coming up was Jason Aldean, and it's like I don't even know who this fucking guy. I can't name a single Jason Aldean song.
Yeah. I guess Kid Rock is kind of transcendent music at this point.
If it was like Garth Brooks, who I didn't even check to see if he was, but like you have to be popping enough to register as like kind of an icon or alone in your field. So or like something like that. So
is Cody Rhodes on this list? I'd say he's up there with like.
Has he actually explicitly?
I was gonna say he's
two wrestlers on our list, and neither of them are Cody.
Yeah, Cody hasn't gone 10 toes down. He's been he's like Jelly Roll. He hasn't.
I mean, this is my problem with this new wave of like MAGA supporter, and we'll talk about this when we get into our thing. But when these people are like, I kind of feel like I like I like Trump, but they're not like fully Trump supporters or like fully MAGA, not even Trump supporters, just like a full conservative. Like these days, they understand. It's like the opposite of like when people were like kind of vaguely center left, but they wouldn't say it because they didn't want to offend, conservatives. It's like the same thing where it's like there might be a dude who's conservative as fuck, but now it's like, well, I don't want to risk getting money from left, people on the left of the political, spectrum. So I'm just not going to say anything. Like it's not, the grift isn't worth it. Like there's three categories of people. There's those guys. There's people who are like kind of, there might be four. There are people who are like blissfully unaware that being conservative now just means being a fascist. There are people who are that because their careers are so fucked that they're like, okay, well, I just be right wing and now I get right wing audiences, right? And then there are the dyed-in-the-wool conservative people, and some of those guys are anti-Trump. Like I thought Clint Eastwood for sure would be pro-Trump because he was always anti-left, or like not always, but like in recent years.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like Trump.
Oh, really?
No.
Hmm.
So
yeah, Mel Gibson, on the other hand,
he's on the list.
Yeah. Okay.
He's on the list. Like I said, there was research done for this thing. I didn't just pull up a thing like with it already made. I had to make the tier list, which just shows how committed I am to the podcast.
Much like Lamar Jackson trusts Trump, I trust you to do your research.
Adam says, you're a better person for not being able to name a Jason Aldean song, Ramon. Well, I'm not good enough to see that it's Aldean, Aldean, because he was on every list. Every list that was like, you'll never guess, this conservative, like, little stocky bald guy is a MAGA guy. It's like, of course he is. That's the most obvious MAGA person. You know what I mean?
I have no idea who that is.
I know. But we were watching the CMA live from Nashville special yesterday. I made us watch it. Because that's the thing is like, I have friends that they like to live in a bubble, right? I don't like that. I like to know what's going on in the world. I like to go, like, if I was in my own bubble, I would think everybody was a woke, leftist, socialist, good, upstanding, moral person, but that's not the real world. The real world is full of dumbass shitheads who listen to country music made by Jason Aldean.
You don't think everyone's aware of that by now? That we just look outside your window.
But I want to know what's going on in their minds. That's why I listen to Bussin' with the Boys. That's why I watch the Joe Rogan Experience, etc., etc. And I do all those things. I've done it.
You still listen to Rogies?
I'm like day one. It comes up. I'm listening to it 2x speed. That way I can mainline the information.
When's the last full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience that you listened to?
I don't know. I have no clue. But you know what's crazy? Oh, you know what? That's not true. The Bernie Sanders episode.
The recent one you did?
No, the previous one. The first time when people were mad.
Yeah, I think I might have.
You know what's crazy? The new one?
No, the old one.
That's what's crazy that I was going to say was the Bernie Sanders episode, the new one. I was not surprised Bernie went on there because Bernie will go on like apparently any podcast. He just wants to get his message out. I am a little surprised that Rogie had him on again, but it's not that surprising because I feel like Rogan, he has to like, right now he's in this weird space where he lost a lot of his super right wing audience, or like the super right wing in terms of like the most manic, obsessive, conspiracy brain guys, because he had on Kash Patel, who wouldn't admit to like all this conspiracy shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. They were mad. The Rogan audience.
Yeah, that was recently. That was like a couple weeks ago.
So I think he realized, okay, well, I can't, like, if I'm gonna be in the establishment, or if these guys are in the establishment, I can't have them on and keep up the same stuff. I have to like have a bit of a pivot. You know what I mean? So then, no, because now he's doing stuff and saying stuff that is like not just right wing propaganda. I think he's just trying to sort of temper it. Like, no, guys, I'm still like left wing, kind of adjacent. I have on Bernie Sanders. I criticized Trump about ICE. Did you see this?
No.
Did you see? So he had on Jay Okerson and Luis J. Gomez from
the fucking Skanks or whatever.
Skankfest. I think that's what it's called, right?
The Skanky Boys.
The Skankers. Jay Okerson, by the way, I've never liked him. Not even because his comedy. I don't know what his comedy is, but I always thought he just looked like a goof. Like he had on like he was a big guy like me, but then he would have like spiky hair and he would have like painted fingernails and like cutoff gloves. Like he was dressing like an emo guy, even though he was a big dude. Which like you can do it, but not when you're fucking 40 You got to
Yeah, that's the
start
thing.
dressing like a 40-year-old.
Because if you look at him when he was younger, because I remember when he was a younger comic, he didn't dress like that.
It's like at
Because he
some
was
point he
so
got into
fucking
like
open and empty.
chemical romance way too old.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
When
It's like
he could have
dudes
been
in their
getting,
40s who start getting like fucking face tattoos and shit. It's like, what are you doing?
yeah. It's like if like currently now I started getting tattoos like Jelly Roll, people would
Yeah.
laugh at me.
Yeah, if you have a face tattoo and you're 19, I'm like, all right, you're a kid, you do something silly. But when you're like 45 and you're like, you know what? One of my first tattoos, I'm putting it right on my face.
I honestly feel like on some level, like the older you get, it's sort of like you should be doing less tattoos. You know what I mean? You can't go like full sleeve after you hit 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got mine when I was in my 20s.
That's the time to do it.
Yeah,
You know, if you're in your 20s and you get it, but if you have like fresh tattoos by the time you're like
but
40, it's a little
I
crazy.
now I do feel like though, like being at my age, almost 50, and having as many tattoos as I have, that if I all of a sudden came into a lot of money and decided to get more, that would be totally acceptable because
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
already
but I mean
started.
like if you are pure skin your entire
Yeah,
life, you know. I just
yeah,
barely got the cutoff, but I also don't want like full anything. I just have a few.
sure.
But even that I was like a little edge case. I'm a little too
Yeah.
old to be doing this.
Well, for me too, it's a money thing. Like if I had more money, I would get more. But it's like
I'd have just
other
the
things.
amount that I have now. If I had $1 million, I wouldn't come out here looking like a lizard guy, like those guys that make themselves look like
Yeah,
lizards.
I would do that. Yeah, no, I
No,
would definitely get like another sleeve and probably my legs.
another sleeve. You only have
Yeah,
so much skin, though.
yeah.
What do you mean?
Cover it
How
up.
would you get another sleeve?
On my
You
other.
already have. Oh, that one's not all covered up either.
No, it's just it goes down to here on the outside
Oh,
and
okay,
around the back.
okay. When I was younger, I thought I would do like the bit or like Nick Wright or Nick Young said that he's only going to get tattoos on his left arm because his right arm is for buckets. So I was like going to be like, oh, I'm only going to get tattoos on my left arm because my right arm is for drawing
Yeah, I had that in
buckets.
my head too.
But now I have more on my right than my left.
Joe
Um,
Rogan got all those tattoos once he hit like 40.
is that true?
Yeah.
That's
If you
what
look at him, he's doing stand up when he was like,
is exactly my point. That's the kind of guy he is.
mm-hmm.
Oh, so here's what he said to Jay Okerson and Louis Gomez. Bro, these ICE raids are fucking nuts, man. Immigration raids by immigration and customs enforcement agents led to mass protests in LA that began earlier this month. Increasingly violent arrest tactics by ICE, including smashing car windows, have been seen in Massachusetts as well. I don't think if the Trump administration, if they're running and they said we're going to go to Home Depot and we're going to arrest all these people at Home Depot, we're going to go to construction sites and we're going to tackle people on the construction sites. I don't think anybody would have signed up for that. What's crazy to me, by the way, is that they did say that.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
That was what I was saying. I was like, they're going to do mass. Didn't I say this before the election, by the way? I said,
I mean, he said they want to do 1 million deportations. What does people
but
think that looked like?
I remember I told you, and I told everybody who would listen, that like when they start doing it, that people are going to be like, I don't like that because the optics of it are bad to deport that many people. Like I think it's still maybe like a little underplayed how bad it actually is because I don't think a lot of people get their media like they don't get their news from the same sort of sources that you see it all the time. But
Mhm.
like that's never a good look. And like it was so obvious that like it would be an actual PR nightmare once they start going into communities and arresting people that are not like criminals and that people know are not criminals. It's one thing to say, oh yeah, like we're only going to arrest like fucking murderers and
Drug
rapists
dealers
and all
and
that kind of
murderers.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's another thing when it's just like the dude who's like doing drywall,
yeah.
you know?
Or the guy
People
on your
write
the guy on your
country
crew.
songs about how much they love drywall these days. You can't arrest the guy who does it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What were you saying?
yeah. I was about to say the same thing. Like it's the guy that's on your crew that you hire to, so you can
Yeah.
pay them less than you would an American, like a citizen.
He
So you're like,
continued
yeah,
that
makes
Trump
sense.
had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, and then, because that's the thing. They want to take advantage of the labor, and then they don't. You know,
Yeah.
they just want to exploit these people.
He says, I don't think the Trump administration. Oh, I read that part. He continued that Trump had promised to get rid of the criminals and the gang members first. And now we're seeing like Home Depot gets raided, he said. That's crazy. Rogan famously endorsed Trump on the eve of the November election over Twitter during an interview with Elon Musk. But he has since then grown increasingly critical of Trump. I hate fake friends. That's why I'm booing. He said starting a fight with Canada over becoming the 51st state was the dumbest shit. Was the dumbest fucking feud, and then called a mass arrest of more than 200 people who were sent to El Salvador prison horrific. That's the thing is like all he has to do is gesture this. The damage is done though. So like for guys like you and I, guys who were actual JRE listeners, like the idea that he could even kind of like get us back by this performance, he's virtue signaling. You
He's
know
not
what I
getting
mean?
me back. Yeah, he can't.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the idea he could get us back with this virtue signaling is psychotic. Like
Yeah.
you're so far gone that like he lost the center, which was the most valuable thing that he had, you know? And you and I might not be the center, but the fact that you don't have it, that means you're not getting the guys like us who were there because, I like MMA and you like ayahuasca
Comedy
or
stuff.
whatever. I don't know why you would
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah. I like the comedy stuff. I like some of the MMA stuff. I like the
Well, we're
talk to
both old
certain
school
figures.
podcast guys too. We're both like Marin guys. You more
Yeah,
so. I used to fuck with Marin heavy.
I'm still a what the fuckinista.
It's it's really bad what you were. The show's ending, right?
Yeah, not till the fall
Give a
though,
round
so
of
I got a
applause
couple
for
months.
Marin as he goes out. Who's going to be his last guest? Do you think has it happened already?
It hasn't. It's in the fall. I don't know.
I think it's going to be
Louis
Barack
CK?
Hussein Obama coming back, returning champion. who could it be though? Who could be the Marin final guest? Does he even have like a dream guest at this point? Like I feel like he's interviewed everybody he needs to talk to. Maybe Louis CK.
That's what I said. Yeah, Louis.
Oh, you said Louis?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Louis, I think Louis would be good just to be like, so what happened there?
Yeah, I don't think Marin wants to go out on that note. I think he wants to go out on his own, without.
Our boy Don says Gallagher. You can't run back Gallagher. Maybe the brother.
Yeah, the brother. He's still alive, right?
Yeah. Or you mean Liam and Noel Gallagher from Oasis? Champagne Supernova. Huge song.
Is that reunion still happening? Is that still on?
I think so. I saw this great image of him with Chino Moreno from the Deftones. And somebody was like, hey, do you remember meeting Chino? And he goes, yeah, he's a dude. I'm like, he is a dude. Cam sent me it because he knew what was up. Speaking of Joe Rogan losing the center, losing us, losing the leftists, losing the old school podcasting guys. You know who else he lost recently?
Who?
Oh, wait, hold on. First of all, welcome to the New Cool Meat podcast, #1 comics podcast that's not about comics. There are people like Don, who's in the chat, who do comic podcasts. They talk about metal and coffee, heavy metal and coffee. And then there are speaking of heavy metal, by the way, tangent. I saw Metallica this weekend and Pantera. We'll get into that in a second, but there are people who do these podcasts where they're like, we want to talk about what is it, like mental health and comics. We don't care about mental health. This is a manosphere podcast. We talk about sports betting. We talk about being men, going to metal podcasts, going into the mosh pit. That's where you could find love in the mosh pit. That's what Kid Rock said. Yeah. Get in the pit and try to love someone. But so, I went to see Metallica this weekend. It was sick as fuck. You know what was really fucked up though is I went with Skinner. That's how I went, because Skinner was the ultimate hookup. I was gonna go with our buddy. Well, I did go with our buddy Justin Greenwood, and hold on a second. Don says Pantera and like an eye roll, bro. Zach Wilde was crushing it over there. I didn't think I would go to another show again just because it just feels like it's not my thing anymore. like I'm too old. You know, Don, if you want to come on, I can send you a link so we can talk about Pantera and Metallica. Just let me know in the chat and I'll send you the link. But the last concert I saw was at the show out in Orange County. I saw Modest Mouse, and that's more my speed now. You know, I'm an indie guy. I'm an intellectual. You know, I'm a smart guy. But I was like, metal's kind of stupid. It's kind of over. Like that's a young me. But I gotta say, this last week, where it felt like truly we were at the precipice of war. Now that could have all been avoided because of our Nobel Peace Prize potential president, Donald J. Trump. But when it felt like we were truly about to go to war, all of these feelings came up in me of like, oh my God. Like, I was like, I feel like it's 2002, 2003 all over again. And so I've been listening to like Throwdown, System of a Down, Slipknot. I've been listening to just all the old metal bands that I listened to when I was in high school. And like, I'm getting back into that mentality for some reason. It's like a weird bad nostalgia where like, I feel like a little bit violent and a little bit anxiety ridden, you know? This isn't a mental health podcast though. We don't talk about that bullshit. We talk about real dude shit like metal. What you don't like Metallica though, right, Tony?
No.
They were sick as fuck, dude. I know you don't like the music, but they were so good live. The first thing I thought too when they went up was, damn, dude, James Hetfield looks old as shit. And then we kind of like did the math and we're like, oh, he's like in his 60s. He's like a super old man up there rocking out, which is kind of crazy. Metallica too, when they did the show, they were just taking like these long breaks in the middle of songs. And I was like kind of losing my mind a little bit because to go back a bit, me and Skinner went up, right? Skinner is like, has hookups. So we go to the show. I ride up with Justin Greenwood, our boy, shout out to Justin. His Thor issue's coming out soon, I think. But so I'm riding up with him because he might have had a spare ticket, but then while I was waiting to find out if he had the spare ticket or not, it ended up being that he like Skinner was like, oh, I'll get you passes for free. So I get there, I ride up with Justin, go to the show. Skinner doesn't have like just regular tickets. Skinner has like VIP snake pit tickets. So like we're friends and family. We have badges that like the people who are at the show, I don't even think they really knew what we were allowed to do. You know what I mean? Like we were like, it felt like in Wayne's World when Wayne and Garth get like the backstage passes, but they're like, okay, well, like we don't belong here. You know what I mean? It was kind of sick. Well, that's how I felt. I don't know about Skinner, but the main problem though was like because we had such good tickets, it was ground. It was like floor seating, but no seating, just general admission, like just the floor. So it was like the stage around Metallica where everybody's just like rocking out, but they're all standing up. And man, the idea of standing up for like 6 hours in the sun, rocking out, is not as fun as it used to be. I'm getting too old for this shit, man. I was like, this is cool and all, but like, I don't want to be rocking out anymore. I'm tired. And the Metallica dudes just kept like taking little breaks. I felt like James and Lars were just like every 2 songs, they were like going down like the little stage area to like have a drink or like take a nap and shit while they play like little loops of like songs that are about to start. It was crazy, but it was fun though. It was like super fun. Do you used to go to shows when you were younger?
Yeah, went to a bunch of shows when I was younger.
Who were your favorite bands that you saw?
Fishbone was great. Lollapalooza was fun. Ministry was cool. Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Your favorite band, Metallica, Soundgarden.
Did you see Metallica or did you just leave?
Yeah, no, I saw Metallica. I left with like 2 songs left.
That would have been
because they're
what, like
kind of,
94?
it was 95,
Okay.
96, somewhere
Okay.
around there.
So like,
About
had they
95.
cut their hair already? Were they already
Yeah.
like,
This was like right after like Empire came out, Evil Empire for Rage.
okay,
So I don't know what year this was.
yeah.
I was never a Metallica guy. I know the Black Hole Sun had just come out for Soundgarden. It was like their big hit.
Okay.
So that was fun. Metallica closed the show. Soundgarden was right before Metallica, and that was probably the best part. But also, I was on
Mhm.
a bunch of LSD that day, so
I was
it's kind of
talking
bittersweet.
when Justin and I were going up, he was telling me that like he had seen Metallica and or his friend had seen Metallica and Guns N' Roses at a show because they did that tour where they were together. That's the one where like James Hetfield got set on fire. But that I guess like every other show they would switch who would go on second. And like they were just there for Metallica, so Guns N' Roses came on. They're like, let's get the fuck out of here. This sucks. You know what I mean? Just beat traffic. Um, man, I was at this
Guns
show.
N' Roses would be the only reason I would have went.
That's crazy.
I would have came late.
Metallica's so much more sick than
Fucking hate Metallica.
Metallica's so sick.
Ugh.
Uh, when we were at the show though, like Skinner ended up leaving early because he's old. He was like, I gotta go. I don't blame him. We were there for a while and just like exhausted by the end of the night. And so he left at like 10:20. The show ended about 11. And like at like 10:40, I'm looking at that exit. Like, God, I bet there's a bench somewhere out there that I can sit down on. And I'm like, my back's hurting, my feet are hurting, my neck is fucking killing me because I've already been headbanging and like when a good song is on, I don't care. But then they'd be playing like some new songs from like the new albums that I don't even know. And suddenly my neck is killing me. And I'm just like, oh God, dude, I can't believe they're fucking with me right now playing one of these new songs. Nobody wants to hear it. So I was like, maybe I'll just leave. Maybe I'll just say I watched it, but then like not. But then no, I stayed because there was like little railing, and when some people left early, I was able to get on the railing, like lean back against it, and it changed everything. It changed the game. That's that's what I wanted. I was never a mosh pit guy. So even just having to be upright near a mosh pit, it wasn't fun. It
Yeah, I
was
was never a mosh
exhausting.
pit. I was never a mosh pit guy either. I
Yeah,
like
because
being
like I
able to
wanted to
look.
see the band.
Yeah, yeah. We used to go to this place called the Edge in Fort Lauderdale, and there was around the pit there was like levels, so you could
Yeah.
like stand up there and watch the show and then watch the pit too at the same time. And I used to love doing that. Every once in a while, I go down there, but it just gets too crazy for me.
Yeah.
I don't like getting punched in the face.
Did you like Pantera ever?
I like some of their songs. Like "Walk" is a good song. Wherever the one that was on the Crow soundtrack.
Yeah.
Um, "Cowboys from Hell" is that the other one?
Yeah, I like that
I like
one.
that one.
I was never a big Metallica. I mean, I was never a big Pantera guy, but Metallica was like my favorite band when I was really young. But Pantera was always like a little too like it felt like a little too like brutish. It was
Mhm.
like too caveman-y. And it was
Yeah.
just like it was funny because like Skinner and I were like rocking and Skinner knew like all the words to the Pantera songs. It was awesome.
Mhm.
And he was like, it's crazy, huh? Like this is just like macho bullshit. This
Yeah, it
is
is.
toxic masculinity.
He's not wrong. Yeah.
Don says when we saw Korn Gojira Spirit Box last year, having seats was definitely the right choice, dude. Like I was right there next to Metallica. I was like as close to Metallica, as I am to like the bathroom right now. It's pretty close. you know, they weren't that far, and I would have preferred to be in like where Justin was at, just for the seats alone, just for like you're chilling, and it was like a nice weather out there. Sophie Campbell says concerts with seats are lame. No,
He's right.
I'm old. You're tripping. That's the only kind of concert I want to go to now. And you know what? When I was younger, the first time I saw Slipknot, it was in an arena, and I sat in the seats when I was like I had infinite energy when I'm like 12 or 13, 14, right? I want to see Metallica, Slipknot, you know. Don says I'd suffer through it all for Metallica. Yeah, that was my mentality too. Was I'm like, man, I've been rocking to these dudes for so fucking long, and like I can't leave before Enter Sandman. That's obviously what they're closing with. And what was crazy was like for some of these shows, Metallica does 2 shows. One show is like they're 2 different nights with like a day off in between because they're so fucking old. But one show they do like 12 songs and it's like, you know, all bangers. And then the next show it's 12 different songs. So like I didn't get to hear them play Master of Puppets. I didn't get to hear them play like Sad But True. I didn't get to hear them play Fuel, which was, you know, horrifying.
Surprised you play the soundbite right now.
I know, I don't even have it open right now. But I did hear them play fucking For Whom the Bell Tolls. That's the other sound, but I have, you know, that was to me the highlight, I think, because that was of the songs they played that I love. That was the one. That one, and because I'm a Fuel and because I'm a load and reload guy, they played the Memory Remains, and they had the crowd do the Marianne Faithful part, where like the old lady goes na 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 na, and Metallica goes like, you know, sing it with us, and like a handful of people were doing it at first because like I think a lot of people don't listen to those albums, so they're like, what do they want us to sing right now? You know. The Pantera part was interesting though too because the guy Phil Anselmo or whatever, he was like the whole show was going like, man, I hope when we come back you guys come see us. You know, a lot of people don't know who we are. You know, a lot of people don't know what Pantera is. You know, we're hoping that we're putting on a good show for you. It's like, what the fuck?
Bro, what? You've been around for like 50, 40 years. What do you...
They were like, nobody knows these songs of ours except for Walk. Like, no, everybody knows Cowboys from Hell. Everybody knows This Love. If you would have played Cemetery Gates, everyone would have known that song.
They didn't play it?
They played it over the speakers, but like the band didn't play it. But they also, while they played it over the speakers, they showed like videos of the Dimebag Darrell and the brother. I can't remember his name right now. I'm blanking. Vinny, that like because they passed away, so they were just playing like footage of them like having a good time and chilling and stuff. But it was super fun. It was super sick. I like I said, I've been more into metal lately. I before that even happened, I remember telling you and Justin separately, this is the summer of Metallica. This is the summer of, you know, me falling in love with this band, you know, because I've been walking, been getting my steps in, and while I do, when it's hot as fuck outside, I'm just playing Metallica because it gets me fucking hyped up, it gets me fucking energized.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It was really funny because I was listening to Metallica on the way home today, and I'm walking down the street, and I'm like I'm in the zone, right? Because I'm like on the final little like block from my house, and this lady stops me, and it's like this nice old lady, and she goes, excuse me. I'm like, oh, I take out my headphone. I'm like, yeah, what, you know, is everything okay? She's like, oh, no, I just wanted to say, I've noticed that you walk all the time, and your gait is looking really good. And I was like, what does that mean? But she's like an older lady, super nice, and she was just like, we ended up having like a 15-minute conversation. Like I've never met her before, you know, and we were just talking about like the neighborhood and blah blah blah. But she was like super nice. But it's one of the things I told her was like, it's really nice going on these walks because I get to like meet people in the neighborhood that otherwise I wouldn't, you know, have bothered knowing.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
So I
I've
know
been feeling good on my walks too lately. I'm feeling a little primal. I'm feeling a little in touch with my ancestral
tenets. The
ancestral tenets. You know, I've like half jokingly yesterday said that you are the what I say, like my fitness influencer. Because like you watch a lot of these dudes though. You watch like Dr. Mike Israetel and you put me onto these guys who like I don't know about them generally, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't really I don't really do that shit anyways.
Yeah.
But we both knew of the Liver King.
Sure. How could you avoid? I mean, I guess a couple people don't know who he is. Like I sent a video of it to Ibrahim, and he had no idea who the Liver King was.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
I sent
like,
it. I told my group chat, my other group chat, and they were like, "Who's this? Like, what do you mean? Who's the Liver King? Who are you?"
Yeah. Where you been?
The Liver King is that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um.
Crazy to catch on to him now at the tail end of his journey, almost. You know.
So let's fill in the audience if they don't know who the Liver King is. I'm going to pull up an article from NBC News. This is from Matt Lavietis. A social media influencer known as the Liver King was arrested Tuesday after he posted threatening messages directed at popular podcaster Joe Rogan on social media, police in Texas said. Austin police said in a statement that they arrested Brian Johnson. I love that his name is Brian Johnson, and he's like, call me the Liver King.
Have you seen photos of him before he went full primal?
He just looks like a normal
dude.
guy.
Yeah, some guy who worked at like fucking like FedEx or like.
I could see him working at like an REI type place, you know?
Yeah,
like he's
exactly.
he's in shape, but he's like normal in shape, you know?
Yeah, he's a normal.
For the audience, like, can you describe him while I like maybe pull up a picture to like put it on the screen?
The Liver King, he kind of looks like a little like the dwarf from Lord of the Rings, but like a little taller and jacked. Wait, I guess that guy is jacked. The dwarf, but yeah, he's like a little dwarfy guy, little troll guy, the big long beard, who's just jacked beyond belief, has a distended steroid belly.
Fucked, by the way, what's kind of fucked, by the way, is that he was like you sending that to Ibrahim and me saying to my other friends, like they were supposed to know him because he just had a Netflix documentary come out.
Yeah,
like,
and no one knows who he is.
It's not supposed to be. Yeah, it's not supposed to be that like we're just finding out who Liver King is. The whole world's supposed to know who Liver King is already, just the way they knew who the Tiger King was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew who the Tiger King was before the documentary. I'd seen him online.
Oh, did you?
And stuff. Yeah, I think so.
I did not know, but I'm not in that world. This is the Liver King. Just like you're right. He's like 5'6" or something too. He's like really
something
short.
Like that. Yeah, shorter than me. Shorter than Joe Rogies.
He's just a tiny little guy with a lot of muscles. Some of these photos of him too, like that I was seeing, they look like AI.
Yeah, he's so ridiculous.
That's just how jacked he was. It just looks like no real person.
It's crazy to me that he would like go on these people's shows and say he didn't do steroids and people believed him.
His weird
what you're breaking up.
Coloring like makes it look like it's like not even a. Sorry, my internet's bugging. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. It was all robot voice.
Yeah.
I was saying it's weird that like he looked like that and he would go on people's podcasts and say he didn't do steroids and people believed him. They were just like, oh yeah, no, he says he doesn't juice. you don't look like that without steroids. No one looks like that. It's physically impossible.
So he said on Instagram, Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out. My name's Liver King. Man to man, I'm picking a fight with you, he said in a video posted Monday. I have no training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You should dismantle me, but I'm picking a fight with you. Your rules. I'll come to you whenever you're ready. In another video he posted that day, he similarly challenged Rogan to a fight man to man. You never come across something like this, willing to die, hoping that you'll choke me out because that's a dream come true, Johnson said. Police said that they contacted Rogan on Tuesday, and he told them that he had never previously interacted with Johnson and considered the post to be threatening. Rogie, you're threatened by this little guy? I mean, I know he's like full of steroids, but like, I feel like Rogan, of all people, should not feel threatened by this man. Am I wrong?
Well, I don't think he himself. I mean, I think if he's worried about his family, because he did mention his family in a lot of those posts.
No, protect your family. No excuses. You can't be like, I'm Joe Rogan. I'm a fucking bow hunter. I'm an alpha male. I'm a Cro-Magnum. This is what men do. We protect things. You don't get to be like, I'm calling the cops. That's Karen behavior. You can't do that, Joe Rogan. Once you become Joe Rogan, you don't get to be fucking Mr. Call the police. We're not doing that anymore. You're out of that business. You moved to Texas because you wanted to have a little compound that you can fucking have a little libertarian fantasy with. Well, libertarians don't call the fucking cops. They handle their business like men. This guy challenged you to a fight. I'm sorry. You have to fight him.
The cops let Liver King go.
What's that?
The cops let Liver King go. So
well, I was going to get to that in the thing.
Yeah.
The story continues. But yeah, the cops eventually probably agreed with me. That was probably their reasoning.
Yeah.
Is the cops were like,
you're in Texas, bitch. We take care of our own. You know?
You're Joe Rogan. You can't be out here crying to us, begging other men to protect your home. Who does that? That's what soy beta males do. You know what I mean? Is Joe Rogan soy? I guess so. I guess he's a soy little bald man.
Welcome to the fold, Joe. Welcome to the fold.
Join the rest of us. Disturbing that Joe Rogan, of all people, would go like, I'm a bitch. I need stronger men to help me out. Saying that he feels threatened and that I saw to TMZ, the only statement that he released about this was that he wasn't sure why Johnson targeted him and that he heard the influencer was, quote, significantly unstable and seems like he needs help. You should have helped him out then. You should have beat his fucking ass. That's how he would learn, Joe Rogan. We're doing toxic masculinity now. You can't go, why doesn't he get mental health, whatever, the treatment, whatever. I don't know what soy people like Joe Rogan say. Because I don't do that. This isn't a mental health podcast. Am I tripping?
No. Nope.
I didn't think so. I just feel like Joe Rogan, 5,000 episodes into his fucking podcast, has established a little bit about himself that if a man challenges him to a fight, he's ready for war. If he's not ready for war, then why does he have a crossbow? Why does he have like 800 guns? Why does he have a fucking armory if he's not willing to go to war with a motherfucker? Who, by the way, is all natty, the Liver King. The Liver King said, I want to go there and fuck you up with my fists.
Sure.
Not a crossbow, not a shield and an axe and a fucking sword, nothing like that.
I think Liver King would bring all that stuff though. He kind of feels like he'd bring like a.
He's all natty.
No, but he's a believer in weapons. I mean, one of those videos he was holding some machine guns, like a gold-plated.
That was just
submachine gun and like
borrowed it from somebody who is not all natty like him.
Looked like a freaking rocket launcher he had in one of those videos.
That's probably someone else's too. You think Liver King owns that for real?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. Why?
One of the craziest things to me was like in one of those videos when he's like, I'm gonna go see Joe Rogan now, and he gets in like a fucking G-Wagon with like a fucking whole entourage of G-Wagons behind him, and they take off, and it's like, what's going on with this guy? Like his finances and his whole setup, like
there's a lot of times when we're watching things, and I wonder the same thing. Like the other night, we were watching that reality show about these people in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. They were like influencers. They were like fashion people.
Impact Atlanta.
It was called Impact Atlanta. But it was all these young people who are like, there's like young women who are like dating rappers, and like one who's trying to be a rapper. But they all are like living super extravagant lifestyles. And one of them is like an assistant. And he's like hanging out in the studio and throwing parties. And I'm like, he's an assistant. Why is he doing this stuff? I don't understand what's going on out here in the world with like people with money. Like, how does the Liver King, who like how does he have multiple Escalade, caravans? That's a little crazy to me.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's like almost like he was trying to do like a wrestling promo and like build up to a fight because he had like that shirt that had
He had a
his
shirt
Rogan's
with-
face. Yeah, so he's trying to get like a pay-per-view thing going or something. Maybe he's trying to convince Rogies to like fight him, which bold move.
Rogie won't do it though because he's soy.
Yeah, soy Rogan
It's
is
sad
circling.
because I used to really love Joe Rogan when I thought he was a man, but it turns out he's trans. He's a woman. Happy Pride, Joe Rogan. Happy Pride, Joe Rogan. I bet Joe Rogan in that little studio has a litter box because he's a pussy, and that's where they go to the bathroom. Fucking Joe Rogan bitched out. I thought he was going to fight the Liver King. The fact that he doesn't makes me think less of him. And again, it's like, well, Ramon, would you fight the Liver King? No, but I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't train for fights. I don't pretend to be a war man, Sophie said, not happy with the joke. You know what?
No, it wasn't
Free speech in America.
I guess comedy's back.
This is me being a character. Obviously, we love and respect trans people. That's why we hate Joe Rogan, because he doesn't do that. So I was just saying, oh, Joe Rogan, you're trans because he hates trans people. Like sort of like psychological damage. This is a mental health podcast, though. We don't do that here. We are mentally unwell. Anyways, Sophie just did more of these. Shout out to Pride. This is a round of applause for people who are living their truth. Unlike Joe Rogan, who's short and bald.
Hey.
What's that?
I said, hey.
It says, you never come across something like this, willing to die. Hope you'll choke me out because it's a dream come true. Police contacted Rogan on Tuesday and he told them he had never previously interacted with Johnson and considered the post to be threatening. Later that day, Johnson was apprehended at the Four Seasons Hotel and charged with terroristic threat. Class B misdemeanor, police said. Representatives for Johnson and Rogan did not immediately request for comment. Liver King's videos promote what he describes as the ancestral lifestyle, which includes consuming large amounts of raw meat and animal organs, particularly animal liver. Nutritionists have criticized his dietary techniques for spreading misinformation. Johnson has never been a guest of Rogan's highly successful podcast. However, Johnson and his alleged steroid use, which Johnson initially denied and then later apologized for, were the subject of one of Rogan's podcast episodes in 2023, which has more than 8.7 million views on YouTube. Joe Rogan, you threatened this man's welfare, who's all natty, by the way, while you are there looking like a little claymation guy with that fucked up little body, and you're going to say that he is a liar and a fraud. You're a liar and a fraud. So I'm with Liver King here. I don't know about you. Who do you side with?
Who do I side with? Well, I mean, I guess I would side with.
There are two lesser choices. Obviously, neither of them are great guys. But.
It's really complicated because, like, I want to side with Liver King, but also, like, on the steroid aspect, at least Rogan admitted to it. So I have to give him credit for that. Yeah. Liver King always lied about it. Rogan was like, "No, I'm on all this, whatever the fuck he takes." They have the same belly. Did you see in that one video where the Liver King's belly button looked like it was like coming out of his stomach? Yeah, it was so disgusting.
Yeah.
The one where he like said he had to lay down to take a shit. He has to do like 5 coffee enemas every day. Yeah, he's doing like 5 of them, bro. He had it in the cup.
Enema? Do you know?
Well, enema is like when they shoot liquid up your butt to get you to poop, right? Isn't that what enema is?
Coffee enema is just doing that with coffee? Why does it have to be coffee?
Guess.
Could it be any liquid?
I mean, I guess there's like some sort of like health benefit to the coffee because it's supposed to help your metabolism somehow.
It's all natty like him. They're saying he's done all the steroids. We don't know he did that. He might have just been buying them. Just for fun.
Just keeping him around.
Yeah.
Rainy day steroids.
Well, don't worry. Don't make up free Liver King shirts quite yet, because as Tony mentioned earlier, he's been released from prison or jail or wherever they kept him, whatever cell he was behind, like a
I will
caged
say
lion.
this. I will say this. Liver King has performed like way more like comedic acts, like funnier stuff in the last like, year than Joe Rogan has done, like his whole career. Like the entertainment content from Liver King is like here, and Joe Rogan's like so.
You don't like? Well, you know
I
what? They
I
also
would
both
say
made people eat
Liver.
cow testicles in their career.
It's true. He made his kids eat it. Yeah, and I would say Liver King has like solidified himself as one of the final like 250 killers that are like left.
See, like Joe Rogan, his career was like, I'm gonna make people eat cow testicles, and it's gonna be like, oh, that's so gross. Liver King was like, I'm gonna make people eat cow testicles because it's like a physically enlightening experiment.
God. I'm gonna force my children to eat cow balls. The internet out.
Sorry, Tamara was calling because Tamara was calling in the middle of the show. Obviously,
for the Doom stream
started. Yeah. Sophie, if you're still here, tell Tamara never do that again. So Liver King's out of jail. Said in a new video posted to his 2.9 million Instagram followers on June 25th, Johnson, 47, does not address Rogan by name, but refers to the podcast host's Comedy Mothership Club because he does not, quote, want to give any details nor names. I love that like mentality of like, okay, listen, Liver King, we're going to let you out of jail. You can't threaten Joe Rogan. He goes, okay, I'm not going to threaten Joe Rogan. I'm going to threaten somebody else at this place that somebody may happen to go to.
He starts calling him Seth Rogen. Like,
yeah. That's going to come up here. He goes, some guy, he thought if you just put him in jail, have the Violent Crimes Division, have them come arrest me for a terroristic threat. And the whole time that terroristic threat you thought was a bomb or something, inside that box is actually a present back for you and your mothership colleagues for having... Wait, so he just more explicitly threatened them with terrorism?
He took Kill Tony literally.
He was like, he got arrested for wanting to fight Joe Rogan, and they're like, that's a terrorist threat. He goes, no, it's not. This is a terrorist threat. I'm sending you a bomb. Maybe. I'm saying,
maybe. Allegedly.
Who knows? Maybe there's a bomb that's going to be sent to you. We don't know. Oh, Liver King, you're not doing yourself any favors here.
No, man. No.
Inside is actually a present back for you and your mothership colleagues for having my wife and me at the mothership, said Johnson before claiming the terroristic threat charge has since been reduced. Oh, well, I think they're going to probably raise it now. In a separate video, Johnson shows off his ankle monitor. Not very ancestral, by the way. He's probably got all kinds of like Bluetooth waves going through his ankle right now.
Oh my God.
That is how probably Joe Rogan is trying to destroy him, right?
He's trying to control him.
He's trying to control him through frequencies.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that Rogan's in with the Trump administration, he has access to the NSA. So,
well, here's the thing: if you know Joe Rogan through his UFC, commentary, this man loves a leg kick. It's his favorite. It's his favorite weapon. So if you weaken a man's ankle, structurally, that's the most dangerous thing you can do to a person. If you're fighting Joe Rogan, who's so short and has such quick access to somebody's legs like that, that's dangerous. Even another short guy like that.
Sure. Plus, if he weakens his legs, that brings his head down to where Joe Rogan can actually kick it.
Yeah.
Actually, Joe Rogan probably can kick pretty high. He's probably pretty flexible.
You think he's flexible?
Compared to Liver King, I mean, if we were talking about a one-on-one fight for real, I think Joe Rogan would probably kick his ass.
I think Joe Rogan moves like the little brother in Christmas Story who has too much like jackets on because of all the muscles. Like they're not built for that frame,
I would say Liver King's isn't either. I mean, he's up against a guy who's even worse off in that category.
Oh, Liver King is way worse off in that category.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I said him versus Liver King.
Purebred dogs who like can't breathe normal.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him versus Cain Velasquez. I'm talking about him versus Liver King.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, either way, these are two fucked up little guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's
100%.
Lollipop Guild drama. We got too short. I
True
don't
kings.
call them kings. No, I don't call
Well,
them
one of
kings.
them's a king. He's a liver king. You
Yeah, true.
can't take that away from him.
I won't. And if Rogan beat him up, that would be committing regicide.
Oh my god! Wow,
And
is
a
that
separate-
Rogan's final left turn? He's gonna say no kings, and he's gonna do a
Why?
pay-per-view versus Liver King.
I guess what I'm just confused about is why doesn't Rogan be like, I'll fight him?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
me, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you should be in a situation where you want that to happen. That would
Yeah.
be the bet. Listen, Rogan, if you want to win me back, I'm a loyal listener to the program. But I quit you and I quit Spotify, and I'd send him a message saying, I don't fuck with Joe Rogan, so I'm leaving this service. Then I was on Napster for a few years. It was terrible. Now I'm on Amazon Music, strictly because of you, Joe Rogan. But if you want to win me back, 1v1 the Liver King. That's it.
I hope he hears this, bro.
I think he will, because we're the #1 non-comics comics podcast. We don't talk about comics. We don't talk about politics, right? So he could hear it. But if you want 2 more listeners, your empire's crumbling, Rogan. If you want 2 listeners, all you got to do is fight the Liver King. You don't have to win. You just have to show that you are about that life.
1v1.
What's all the karate for?
Yeah.
If you're not ever going to do anything with it.
Get in the ring. Get in the octagon. My bad. Not the ring.
Adam says, what platform should they fight on?
Thriller. Hey.
I don't even think, don't even,
That's
you don't
Triller
have to
thing.
put it on TikTok, I guess. I don't know.
Rumble.
Yeah, go on
Kick.
Rumble,
Put
go
on
on Kick. Yeah. I don't need it to be like a big deal. It's probably going to be a terrible fight. Like you said, Tony, they're not necessarily athletic guys. They're
No.
2 weird little abominations to God. They look like guys that would be in the game Doom from hell. They are freaky little dudes. But I still want to see them go at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I watched Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson a couple years ago.
I watched Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Hell yeah. Floyd Mayweather versus Jake Paul. I mean, that was.
If they put it on Spotify Live,
oh my god,
I'd get Spotify again.
Imagine.
I'd quit Amazon. I'd quit Amazon Music for sure. In a separate video, Johnson shows off his ankle monitor and reveals that Rogan took out a restraining order against him. A restraining order? He's a coward. That's cuck behavior. Because I just think that if you're Joe Rogan, you can't have the law say I thought you were about less laws. What is this? What crazy world did I wake up in where Joe Rogan wants to be in a nanny state? That's insane. So it shows off an ankle monitor, reveals that Rogan took out a restraining order against him, which prevents him from coming within 200 yards of the podcaster. Which, by the way, if that's true, that's kind of crazy, because you always hear the story about women who are in abusive relationships and they have stalkers, dangerous people, and they cannot get restraining orders, and they certainly can't get them enforced. But you have Joe Rogan, a little muscle-bound monster guy,
somebody
a
at my
little
door.
critter. Okay. You have this little guy, and you have to get a restraining order? That doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like if you're Joe Rogan, you should be able to just go, okay, listen, man to man, we're going to go on Spotify Live. We're going to fight it out. Win or lose, this is it. You get the one fair shot at me, and if I fuck you up, it's over. But this lawfare stuff, to me, again, I would do it, but I'm not Joe Rogan. But this lawfare stuff, to me, it just seems weak. It just screams of pathetic loser shit. This continues. In a separate video, Johnson shows off his ankle monitor, blah, blah, blah. Johnson at times calling Rogan by name said he has a 9 p.m. curfew and is not allowed out of, quote, that space, presumably his Austin hotel room, until 6 a.m. the following day.
That was
Rogan versus Liver
vote
King,
for
Johnson
Daniel
added.
Carlino, City Council, Missoula, DSA member. He was just at my
Shout
door.
out.
Shout out to him.
That was him that was there?
Yeah, just
You told
knocking.
him you're going to vote for him?
Oh yeah, he's already got my vote.
Looks like a nice dude.
Yeah, he's a
What's his name again?
Daniel Carlino.
Carlino's Way.
There you go.
Big shout out.
Big shout out.
I was gonna say, I was like, who's that? Like, who could possibly be there? But I didn't realize political figures are coming to your door to get your vote. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So apparently, Tony, there's a restraining order against Joe Rogan. He's Liver King's not allowed within 200 yards of him, and that ankle monitor is making sure that he's in his hotel room at 9 p.m. every night, so that Rogan can freely wander the streets of Austin to the mothership without any worry about the Liver King trying to square up.
You know what? I watched a video about Austin and like comics hating it there, and Rogan was in Austin recently, like walking through the streets downtown, and people were like heckling him and yelling shit at him, and he was scared.
Wait.
Yeah, there's video of it. Someone I guess someone was videoing him and just like walking through with a security team, walking through like downtown Austin, and people are
He's got a
calling
security
him fascist.
team?
Yeah, he had a security team around him, and they were calling him fascist and all this shit like that.
They were calling him what?
Fascist and bootlicker and all this shit like that.
And he was scared.
He was scared. Yeah.
I just feel like if you're Joe Rogan, you can't have a security team and you can't have laws that tell people they can't be near you.
You walk around with your bow on your back like Green Arrow, and you
walk around like you're Legolas. You're like Legolas, but you're the size of Gimli. You're like if Gimli met Legolas. If Gimli and Legolas had a baby together, that would be you, Joe Rogan. And
Liver King looks like Gimli, which is
Johnson in another video said that he's been ordered to get a psychiatric evaluation this week, and then once a month for, quote, a while. He reiterated, however, that videos aren't going to stop. He also repeatedly calls out Seth Rogen instead of Rogan himself. How do you train for a Seth Rogen kind of fight? He's a very qualified filmmaker, I think. Johnson was booked around 5:30 p.m. local time on June 24th by the Austin Police Department. He was charged with terroristic threat, a Class B misdemeanor, according to police records. Johnson, in a series of video posted to his 2.9 million Instagram followers between June 23rd and 24th, expressed interest in wanting to fight Rogan, with whom he's been beefing with online for several years. Johnson chronicled his journey to Austin, where Rogan lives. Detectives reviewed the post and observed that Johnson was traveling to Austin while continuing to make threatening statements, the police said in a statement obtained by The Hollywood Reporter. Detectives contacted Mr. Rogan, who stated he never had any interaction with Johnson, but considered the post to be threatening. Based on this information, detectives obtained an arrest warrant for Johnson on a charge of a terroristic threat. In a video posted by Johnson on July 23rd, the social media influencer, shirtless and with a wolf head hat on, challenged Rogan to a battle as meditation music plays in the background. Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out, said Johnson. My name's Liver King. Man to man, I'm picking a fight with you. Yeah, I have no training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You should dismantle me. We've already read this stuff before. He says, Joe Rogan, in a series of rambling videos, often addressing the podcaster directly, Johnson said, we have real tension. Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming for you, Johnson said. I've challenged you man to man, honorable. You can hold the hand of somebody that you love, because what happens next to you, you're going to need to remember that feeling. You're going to need something more than what you did to give you something to fight for, because I have my family to fight for, and I'll die for them. And you're a black belt, but you never came across something like this, he continued. I'm willing to die, hoping that you'll choke me out. I pray to God. It's a dream come true. So obviously then he was arrested. The video of him getting arrested where he was like telling the cops like, just give me 14 minutes so I can do a coffee enema was like super fucking, you're right. Like that was high comedy.
Yeah.
It was absolutely insane shit.
I'm just thinking about all the things swirling around in his body. Like the chemicals and the the trauma and the PTSD and the stuff that's broken, like his organs are probably just swollen and inside out. Like the man can't poop. He's going insane. It's a testament to like what you can do, what
Well,
the
on
human
that
body can
note,
like.
should we do our?
I say it's a testament to what the human
I
body
think
can endure if you
there-
think about it.
yeah, it's a lot of chemicals they shoved into that little guy.
Yeah, it's all busting
Do
out
you
of his
want to try
belly
doing
button.
this tier list?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So
Is-
I'm hoping, maybe against hope, that this works and that my computer and the stream doesn't die out. I feel
Yeah,
like
your
we've done
internet's been
tier lists
really bad.
before and they've gone smoothly. I don't know what's going on lately.
Yeah.
Never been great, but it's been like particularly bad the last 2 episodes.
Oh wow, look at this group.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's
Wow.
here's what I was thinking for the tiers. Okay.
Oh,
On the top
Bingo
one,
Poppy.
we're gonna put. You have to separate art from artist. That's like
Okay.
sort of what you say about the person. The second one I was thinking was, like, oh, that's too bad, I guess. Like, it's like, well, like, I like them, but that's too bad because they're fucking idiots. This one is like, meh, I always kind of figured. Then down here, it's like, who gives a shit / basically useless. And then the bottom is obviously fuck all the way off. So there's going to be different qualifications for why we rate these people here, but I feel like this is a pretty good like listing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first we're going to start with John Voight. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I guess I'll find out. I was just wondering if the woman from The Sopranos is on here.
She is.
Okay.
So we're starting with John Voight. So how do we feel with that?
I love Midnight Cowboy, and I'm gonna say, oh, that's too bad, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big John Voight fan, and like I feel like ever since I've been a kid, he's just been kind of like a shithead right-wing guy. So I feel like that's like I'm inclined to go, meh, I always kind of figured.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean he's like in between these two. I'll put him up here, but we can like maybe adjust as we go.
Have you ever seen Midnight Cowboy?
I haven't, but I've seen Runaway Train.
It's another one. He's been in some great movies, so it's like, and he was a good actor in all of them. It wasn't like, except for maybe Anaconda, but everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like he's never done anything to really wow me. There are some people on this where I'm like they're so much more like useful than John Voight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So like, for example, Lil Pump. Like,
fuck all the way off.
Listen, we all love Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, but like,
do
we all love that song. But the fact that that's his only song, and the fact that he's done basically nothing, yeah, he can fuck all the way off. He's down there.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Russell Brand.
Yeah.
And he's a particularly fuck all the way off because, unlike Lil Pump, who never had a chance, Russell Brand started out as a guy who was like talking about mental health, talking about, being like sort of this like spiritual fucking atheist dude, who like is on like this other wavelength. And now he's just like fully grifting. He's like, when I broke it down earlier of like, there are different people, like he's not a dyed-in-the-wool conservative who I have some amount of respect for, like John Voight, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who, when he realized that like normal people were not going to fuck with him, he's like, oh, I'll just be conservative then. Like he's just a classic kind of grifter dude, Yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand him.
Yeah.
So I can't stand him also because the way he is about like sobriety and shit, because he's one of these like all or nothing, dry drunk type sober people.
Wait, what's the problem with dry drunk sober people?
They become fanatics about it. It's like if you don't subscribe to their way of thinking, like Like, say you did hardcore drugs and you got off of it and you smoke weed, then you're just as bad as like a meth head, or you know,
I
you're
agree with that.
succumbing to your weakness.
But no, I don't know about any of that stuff, but I know he's one of these freaks that are like the RFK level kind of guys. I'm not into it.
Yeah, well, that's in line with that sort of thinking,
Yeah. Next we got the Gringo Poppy.
Who gives a shit?
I feel
Basically
like who
useless.
gives a shit basically useless. Like he's just
Yeah,
a guy who's so dumb that it's hard to be like, oh, he's the worst, right? Because he's just
yeah,
that dumb.
yeah.
Yeah. James Woods.
You
See,
have to separate
he
art
to
from
me
artist.
is, oh, that's too bad, I guess. To me, you think
I
he's that high?
well, he's been great in some great movies, So it's like
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't.
Yeah, he's been really
Well,
great. And
so I mean, but it depends on like, are we saying like I still fuck with him? No, I don't fuck with any of these people, like
no,
on
that's
any
that's the
level.
whole thing, though. I don't fuck with
Yeah,
these people either.
yeah.
But
But
like
if you're
on
gonna
the
tell me
top
like
levels, like
if I'm
those
gonna
are
enjoy
regardless.
their am I gonna enjoy their work, and I'm gonna enjoy James Woods' performance and like um what was the movie we saw with the Phil Collins song? Uh,
Tarzan.
that one, but also the one with James with
No,
Jeff
it's
Bridges, where he's the football
yeah,
player.
no, I was just joking. It's called
Yeah,
the name of that song. It's fuck.
take a
It
look at me.
was
Shit.
it was a remake of Out of the Past.
Yeah, he's great in
But
it.
I can't
So
remember the name of it right now. But it's a remake. That's why it's like fucking with me. Oh, that's gonna bother me so much that I can't think of that name.
but yeah, like if I'll still enjoy his work. So I guess you have to separate art from artist.
Yeah, and I like him in whatchamacallit. The now I'm blanking on every movie name is out of my fucking head right
He's in
now.
JFK. He's been in.
I was thinking of the movie where he goes in the TV, the fucking
Oh
Cronenberg movie.
yeah, Videodrome.
Videodrome, thank you. But he's great. Like
Yeah.
he's great as Hades and Hercules. You know what I mean? Like I fuck with James Woods as a character. I even like him in like not good movies. Like there was a movie he was in, the Straw Dogs remake. He's just in it as like a little piece of shit. It's like, well, he's such a believable piece of shit that like
Mm-hmm.
this is a great performance. You know?
Yeah. There's that one movie where
Uh,
he was the mentor to those young, that young couple. Remember we watched it? It was him and his
yeah.
girlfriend, and they were mentoring that other young couple. He was great
The
in
other young
that.
couple was like Vince Cartwright from Mad Men. But yeah.
Yep.
That was a good movie too. I can't remember the name of that either. Because every movie's gone right now. Against All Odds is the
Hey,
fucking movie that
thank
James
you.
Woods. Brian Callen.
I put him with Poppy. Who gives a shit? Basically
See, I
useless.
think he's worse than Poppy
Oh, he's fuck all the way off.
because
Oh yeah, yeah, because
he's a
well, they're both
rapist.
rapists, aren't they? Isn't Poppy
He,
a rapist too?
no, he's
Allegedly?
not. I mean,
No.
no, not allegedly. He just allegedly hit on a married woman.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, fuck all the way off, Callum.
Yeah, Callen can fuck
Yeah.
all the way off, and like also like he was never funny, ever.
Nope.
Even like in shows that I liked that he's in, it was like, oh, here's Brian Callen again. This was before I knew he was like a conservative or like a rapist or whatever, allegedly. Before I knew any of that stuff, I didn't like him. I thought he was unfunny. He was like useless. Not basically useless, actually useless. Chachi.
Who gives a shit? Basically useless.
That's kind of how I feel. He's more dyed in the wool conservative, you know?
Yeah.
But like it's not like he matters, right?
No. Who's this lady? What's her
This is
name?
Paula
She's the
Dean. She makes cookbooks. She was the one who was
yeah,
like
I remember. She said the racist
her
stuff.
whole thing was like, y'all gotta use lots of butter. That was her whole recipe book. I feel like who gives a shit basically useless, you know?
Yeah.
But she was on a lot of the lists of like she's conservative, and it was like no shit. You know
Yeah,
what?
it's
I'll
like,
even give
man, I
her
always
up
kind of
here.
figured. Yeah,
I
that's what I was
kind
gonna
of
say.
I always figured
Yeah,
because
if I just look at her,
you
looking
would
at her
never
face, I'm like, that woman's MAGA. If I just looked at her, so
you look at her face, you think this is a racist ass bitch.
yeah,
But I bet if you looked at the food she made, you'd think, I want it. I bet it looks disgusting, but I bet it's delicious. You know?
is that art from artist? Is that
No, I'm giving her May. I always figured because she does look super racist. of Kelsey Grammer.
That's too bad, I guess.
See, I would almost have to put him up here.
Okay.
Because I've never seen Frasier, but I hear it's goated. But I love him in whatchamacallit.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. You know?
Okay.
Joe Rogie, our boy, the liver king, the liver king cuck, the liver cuck.
I'm gonna say fuck all the way off.
Wow. So you don't like his podcast? You don't like
No.
you don't like his burning the boats?
No.
Well, no. I like him for the UFC stuff. But you know what? Since he did not fight the Liver King,
yeah,
I would be willing to put him higher, but he didn't fight the Liver King. If you're Joe Rogan, you have to fight the Liver King. I can't have you not fight the Liver King.
I'll say, just real talk. I would say real talk, like he squandered a platform that he grew for himself, and he just bungled it.
I mean, real talk, yes. He turned a lot of people into fascists on accident. I think. Because I don't think he's... Well, that's the thing is, I don't think he's... I think his brain got broken.
Yeah.
In like a substantial way. You know what I mean? It's hard to listen to old Joe Rogan and like think it's the same guy as it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like a thing I've changed. I'm the same. You've changed. Your brain got broken, and now you're accidentally turning all these people who aren't smart people like me into fascists. So I forget this next chick's name. It's like Christy something. She was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, the TV show or the movie? I've only seen the
movie.
Oh, Christy Swanson, right?
Yeah, Christy Swanson. That's her.
I'm gonna say I always liked her until I found out she was MAGA. So I'm gonna say that's too bad, I guess.
See, I have no opinion of her, so I'll just take in your lead on this one.
She was like in the 90s. She was like
kind of a babe.
Yeah.
So this is Zach Levi.
Oh, who gives a shit? Basically useless. I can't stand this guy. He's the worst. Shazam. Should
we put him ahead of the Gringo Poppy, or is the Gringo Poppy at the top? I thought his Chuck show was bullshit. The Shazam movie looks stupid, but I find his desperation so embarrassing.
Yeah, I will say Gringo Poppy provides unintentional comedy at a level that hasn't been seen. So
it's more entertaining than whatever the fuck Zachary Levi is doing.
Yeah.
Next we have Victoria Jackson, who's like basically never been funny.
Yeah, SNL.
It was like the worst part of SNL. I guess fuck all the way off. Like I've never liked her. I still think she's terrible. She's like the little pump of SNL people, Like at least Rogie, he had something to fall off from. Russell Brand was funny in some movies, mainly just for getting Sarah Marshall. But he's still funny, dude.
Hey, get him to the Greek. Has moments.
Next, this is Randy Quaid.
I'm gonna say separate art from artist.
Yeah, I feel like Randy Quaid has like a slept-on filmography that's like super sick.
Yeah.
What's really weird about that is he's always playing like pedophiles and rapists and shit. It's like he's got like a face where you're like, oh, that guy's a dirt freak,
He's like, he's a doofus relative always.
Like literally, like I was on a run where it was like every movie he showed up in, it's like, well, hide the kids.
I'm just looking at this list. I'm probably like the list is starting to scroll up. I'm seeing some of the other faces, and
you talking about my list?
Yeah, not the list. Yeah, the faces underneath the thumbnails.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. You don't have to get too far ahead of yourself. Now we got Rob Schneider.
Who gives a shit? Basically useless.
Well, I don't know if you could tell what hat he's got on right there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let me tell you a story. Let me put you 4th grade Ramon, okay? No. Yeah, 4th grade. I switched schools in the middle of the year. My teacher in the 4th grade is one Linda Schneider.
Wait.
she tells me, the whole class really, that her brother is Rob Schneider from SNL.
Wait, what? Have you
Dead
told me
ass
this before?
serious. I think so.
This
So,
is striking me
so
as
here's the
new.
thing: is Rob is like super unfunny, but he's also like kind of hilarious. And his teacher taught me how to do long division, which has been invaluable to me in my life.
Sure. So art from artist, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm gonna put that's too bad, I guess, because I feel like he's a Warriors guy. He's got a sweet hat. You can do it. That's hilarious. Okay.
Oh, and in 51st Dates, he plays the Hawaiian guy, where
The
he's
Hawaiian guy. Fucking, he plays a Hawaiian guy in Surf Ninjas as well.
yep.
You know what? I think
He's
he's
the
like
worst part of the movie.
semi-Hawaiian, by the way. Like I think that's not like him. I'm pretty sure he's like semi-Hawaiian.
I will say the Surf
Not
Ninjas is so good, it made me be able to look past Rob Schneider because he's horrible in that movie. He like every time he shows up on screen, he tries to tank it.
He's also funnier than like everybody below him. You know what I mean?
But like, yeah.
Bear in mind, I hate Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo.
That's horrible.
I hate that movie so bad, and I hate the animal.
You know what?
Whatever the fucking movie.
You know what he did do? Making copies, the Copinator.
One of the funniest sketches of all time.
Yeah, I howled when I was a kid.
He has to be. That's too bad, I guess.
That's too bad.
He was also like in those like skits where like Adam Sandler and Chris Farley were like dumb high school girls at the mall and shit. Wasn't that he was in that with them, right? He was like the third girl.
I think so. Yeah, I think he was one of them.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike Tyson.
Depends. Are we considering art his fights?
Yeah.
Because then I would say you have to separate art from artist because he would knock.
But also like The Hangover, just like the whole guy, like his whole.
Yeah, that's see then it's like drags him down because I never was really into the Hangover movies. He's also rapist.
I've only seen one of them, but I remember he was the highlight of it. Alleged, but like he also said shit like "I'm gonna eat your children," which is hilarious.
Yeah. Send you to Bolivia.
He also has the Chairman Mao tattoo. He also has the Cesar Chavez tattoo. Like, that's come on, you have to separate art from artist.
Yeah, I would say I still love watching like Tyson knockouts. So
yeah, he's sick as fuck.
Who's this guy? This next guy.
This is Vinny from Jersey Shore.
Oh, I have no idea who he is. I never watched Jersey Shore.
Here's what tripped me out about this. For some reason, he was on every list of like when I looked at MAGA conservatives, and I'm like, who gives a fuck about Vinny from Jersey Shore? He's like the least impressive Jersey Shore guy, and yet he was on every list. And it made me think: are they not all MAGA?
The Situation?
There's Snooki, The Situation, Ronnie, Sammy Sweetheart. There's JWoww. There's Pauly D. And there's
I know who Pauly D is. Pauly D is the guy with the spiky hair, right?
Yeah, he has like the blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah. GTL. He was like the lackey sidekick that no one took serious on that show. So like that he's MAGA, like I feel like fuck all the way off. Like you've never provided any content.
I have no context for this.
Jackson. I only put him on here so I could downgrade him. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm just being a hater. I'm like, Vinny, I don't care. Wake me up when Snooki is MAGA. Now, I don't know if you can see who's next. That's Mike Love.
I'm going to say fuck all the way off.
I feel like I always kind of figured I can't put him in fuck all the way off, though, because he did fucking one of the greatest jammers of all time.
Aruba? Jamaica?
Yeah, he wrote fucking...
Ooh, I want to take you to Bermuda, Bahama. Come on, pretty mama.
He banged that out, dude.
Montego. Baby, why don't we go? Yep. Okay. Yeah, if I can remember that much of that song, then definitely...
That's where
we want to go. Way down in Kokomo. Aruba.
So I almost want to put him higher. But the thing is, like, even if he wasn't MAGA, he's still a piece of shit for like 800 other reasons.
Yeah.
This was just like he's been a piece of shit his whole life, and then like a little cherry on the top. He, you know, he's MAGA, little red cap cherry on the top. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you feel about the Undertaker?
Man, I always kind of figured that's.
Yeah, I feel like once it became clear that he's a piece of shit, like it doesn't really matter, right? Like I put him right up there. He's right behind Paula Dean, but right above Mike Love. No, you know what? He's behind both of them. You know what? Mike Love's ahead of both of them.
Yeah, Mike Love's ahead of
This
both
is the new order. This is the new order. Okay, Logan Paul.
Fuck all the way off. That's the way I feel.
Yeah, I would agree, and I'm putting him down here right behind Brian Callen. Because, like, he's an annoying guy who, like, will virtue signal to be, like, the reasonable Paul brother. Like, every other week, he'll say something where it's like, oh, I guess Logan Paul ain't that bad. And then he'll do, like, significantly worse shit this week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's, like, a garbage, annoying guy. And he set a bad example for his little brother. And I feel like that, you know, being a bad brother, I feel like that's not cool.
He should have been over after that Japanese graveyard thing. His career should have been over, but they let him hang around and then left.
You don't believe in restorative justice?
I believe he didn't really face any sort of punishment for that. You know, he should have.
You'd be right about that.
Should have had his platform taken from him. That was like. Should.
Okay, what about Jake Paul?
I'm gonna say I feel more empathy for him than his brother.
I do too, because he had a bad older brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna say who gives a shit basically useless.
Plus, you know? I agree with that. I agree with everything you said. Plus, he's more likely to knock out the Liver King.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Because he's like a dude who will fuck up old people.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
If they're like an old dude who can't fight, like Jake Paul will fuck that person up. So like, Jake, if you want to go all the way up to Met, I always kind of figured just beat up the Liver King. Since the the Soy King, Joe Rogan won't do it.
Joe Soygan.
Oh, here. Okay, what about the Hulkster?
You know what? This is only because of Hollywood Hulk Hogan that I'm going to say art from artist. I know.
That's crazy. I want to go lower.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan is iconic.
Hollywood Hogan is iconic. The thing is, his matches were terrible.
They were terrible. Yeah.
He was always lazy. He was always a bad booker. He was the worst part of everything he ever did.
Yeah, but boy,
could he get in? Could he go in that ring, baby? So I want to go. That's too bad, I guess. Can we compromise?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's all it did because. And to be clear, I was never a Hulkamaniac. I was always a Macho Man fan. I hated Hulk Hogan. When Mega Powers got together, it broke my heart because I didn't want Macho Man to get with Hogan. And when they came apart, I was rooting for Macho the whole time. So
I was too young for that whole business. I liked Hogan in WCW. That's where I I missed all of WWF Hogan. I only saw Hogan in WCW. I hated Hogan, when he was in NWO because I loved the Goldberg. Who, by the way, I also tried to find out if he's MAGA. Apparently, no. Apparently, he hates Trump.
Also libertarian? Seems like a libertarian type.
Yeah, I think so. But he was like, he also doesn't like Trump because Trump was like a dickhead when he was like go do WWE shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last I could find, he's not a Trump guy.
That's good.
Unlike Hogan, who is like one of the most Trump guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Hogan, Like he also ruined Gawker, which I hate him for because I used to
Yeah,
love Gawker.
yeah.
Like
And Bubba
Gawker
the
was
Love
like my
Sponge.
go-to website for news.
He ruined Bubba the Love Sponge, which was our favorite morning DJ. Shock jock.
I hate Bubba the Love Sponge.
No,
I think he's horrible. I'm a Opie and Anthony guy.
Bubba Booey.
No, I'm not a Howard Stern guy. I'm a Opie and Anthony guy, baby. Okay,
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone.
Art from artist.
Yeah, he's the easiest art from artist guy that we've come across thus far. He's a god tier actor. We love him. The problem is that he's MAGA. It's like I think this might have been the one where we were like, "Oh man, like
Really
it's too
broke my heart.
bad." Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
man, I always kind of figured, but also like I held out hope.
he's a problematic fave.
Yeah.
Truly.
And as an Italian, it really hits me deeply.
And he's like, it's always him and Clint Eastwood, where like when people say like, "Oh, you just don't like things because it's like not woke or whatever," it's like, no. I like plenty of things that are not woke. I like Clint Eastwood. I like Sylvester Stallone. I like Mel Gibson.
I love Bad with a Ba. I mean,
So it's like it's not a factor of like if your politics don't align with mine, I don't like it. It's if the thing sucks, I don't like it, and I'm not going to pretend that but I'm also not going to pretend that I don't like things just because the politics don't align. That's what I.
Yeah, because if they do
kinda
align, if it's not good, I'm not going to like it. Like when that Ghostbusters movie came out, I wanted to like
Yeah.
it. I mean, not that that's a political movie or anything, but there was like a sentiment behind it, like in zeitgeist. So
Yeah.
like I wanted to like it, and I was like, because I wanted the chuds to be wrong, and then it came out. I was like, this movie sucks.
No, it's dog shit. It's too bad.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I like Bridesmaids,
Yeah,
but
like Rosemary's a lot.
yeah, I mean, it's just like the most like annoying thing when people just make assumptions about who I am because I'm not like a right wing guy. That like they're like, oh, well, if you're soy and you only like Rachel Maddow.
Yeah,
I
but
don't like
we didn't get into it. We didn't get into it last week, but I had a family member visit, and they are conservative leaning, not Trump supporters, but conservative and Republican at their core, and they kind of view me in that light, where it's like they assume that I watch MSNBC, and we have these conversations. I feel like he thinks he's talking to his TV set, or he's talking to some sort of like image in his head of what a leftist or a left-leaning person is like because of what they consume. And it's frustrating because it's like
I have conservative family members that do the exact same thing where it's like they will be like, oh, so like you like Nancy Pelosi? It's like, no, obviously
yeah,
she's a freak.
Yeah, that's what they were saying to me when they were here. They were talking about because we were talking about Trump's corruption. And he's like, what? They were like, oh, if you look at Nancy Pelosi and all the stuff they do, I'm like, yeah, you're right. They're horrible too. I'm like,
Yeah,
pull out the guillotines. Like I can't stand her. She's psychotic.
this is why I want to destroy the oligarchy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, like the idea, there's always this idea that like if you are on the left, then you're just fragile and you just pretend that like that you're in a bubble and that you pretend that things that are not inside your bubble that they don't exist and that you couldn't possibly understand them and you don't give them credit. Whereas it's not the case. It's never been the case. I've always liked things that were problematic, and I will always like things that are problematic because I'm just a human being. You know what I mean? Like I'm still going to enjoy Sylvester Stallone's dog shit movies.
We have to watch Rocky Balboa. That might be the underrated classic.
I know you love
that
that one. I
love that movie.
listen, every year
I
I
know
think I need
Sophie
to watch
loves that movie.
every Expendables movie.
I think that's what I might pick on my birthday is Rocky Balboa.
Expendables? Oh, Rocky
Yeah.
Balboa.
No, Rocky Balboa. Fuck Expendables.
Maybe I'll pick Expendables
I never liked
for my
Expendables.
birthday.
Ooh. I think the first Expendables was cool, but then it started to become like a little too much.
Yeah. So Mel Gibson.
Oh man,
I feel like he's
that's another
right
one.
behind Sly, dude.
Yeah, Apocalypto is so fucking good. I can't.
Apocalypse is such a good movie. Oh, by the way, Jim Caviezel was on every list too. I'm not putting him on my fucking thing.
No, he's not even
Like
worth.
Caviezel, you have no hits,
No.
you have no aura. You're not making my list of people. I wasn't going to waste time popping your head.
He's just aura farming Jesus for all of his cred, his clout.
Yeah, like
He's just
all
riding
these
that wheel
images.
forever.
I was compiling them, and I like the thought of trying to remember today who Jim Caviezel was from like when I compiled the list. I was like, that'll never happen. Christy Swanson, I was like, I'll put her on just because I can remember the name Christy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But Jim Caviezel, your face will be completely lost. Nobody will know you. You have no aura. You're not making my list. But Mel Gibson, I'm sorry, like he has bangers.
Yeah,
like
he
a
does.
number of bangers, not
Braveheart,
just one banger.
Braveheart, Apocalypto.
I've never seen the Lethal Weapon movies. I hear they're sick.
Yeah, they are
What
good.
Women Want, which I saw in theaters.
Bird
He's
on
like
a Wire with
it's a
Goldie Hawn.
hilarious guy.
You ever seen Bird on a Wire?
Never seen Bird on a Wire.
It's kind of like Midnight Run, but it's him and Goldie Hawn instead of.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
maybe you should pick that for your birthday. Kevin Sorbo.
Who gives a shit? Basically useless.
Yeah, you're right. I hated Hercules, but I loved Xena. So like every time Hercules would show up in Xena, I'd get annoyed. Every time Xena was not on and Hercules was, I did. He's such a boring fucking guy. You know?
Yeah. A zilch.
Yay.
Fuck all the way off. That's the way I feel. I was never into him though. So, full disclosure, I was never a Kanye fan. So, like, I remember the first album, I had like a couple songs off of it. Gold Digger was cool, but like, I just couldn't fuck with him. After a while, and then the 808s was like, I hated it.
Here's my trajectory. If he hadn't just went Nazi and KKK, I would have said you have to separate art from artists. I was there for the longest time. Too long. I was in the like, listen, I like Kanye. He's going through a mental health crisis. But you know what this is not, Tony?
Mental health podcast?
That's fucking right. We're not talking about mental health on this fucking podcast. So Kanye, you can fuck all the way off. But I'll put you at the top, though. You are above your own because you did have bangers. But that shit's annoying, dude. Because it's not even like I'm mad at Kanye for being that way. I'm mad at the way people can now say, oh, Ramon, you like Kanye for so long. And I'm like, okay, well, who doesn't make mistakes? You know what I mean? But that was a bad, like he embarrassed me. So now I have to put him on the very bottom.
Adam in the chat says Ransom highly underrated. That's a Mel Gibson movie. It is great. That's Give Me Back My Son. That one. Love that movie.
I'm blanking on the other Mel Gibson movies, but I love a lot of Mel Gibson movies. I can't lie.
Yeah, Mad Max. I mean, it's too many to mention.
Yes, yes. How do we not mention Mad Max? Like, give me a break. Now, granted, he was outdone by the new Mad Max.
Yeah. Tom Hardy is better. A better Max.
Tom Hardy is gonna outdo everybody in every role that he's in.
Facts.
Okay, Caitlyn Jenner.
I'm gonna say fuck all the way off.
Fuck all the way off. You could be there next to your son-in-law. Former.
Yeah.
Jim Brewer.
Who gives a shit? Basically useless.
Yeah, but I'll put him up here for Goat Boy ahead of Chachi.
He wasn't Half Baked, which is a great movie.
Yeah, Half Baked is a hilarious movie. So Dennis Quaid is the next one, sort of like the handsome version of Randy.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to say, I mean, it's either Art from RS or Too Bad, I guess.
It's up there. It's for me. Dennis Quaid is in some absolute fucking bangers. Yeah. And like to this day, he's good at stuff, but it's just like, it's a little bit like he's a redundancy. Like we have Kevin Costner. Like, do we need Dennis Quaid? Not really.
No, not really.
Costner, by the way, hates Trump. Costner says Trump is a bitch. So, and that's strictly because of the public lands. He hates the fact that Trump is doing that,
Yeah.
But,
it's a unifying force.
Okay, so next we have Gwen Stefani.
I didn't even know she was MAGA. That's crazy.
So here's the thing: is I never got full 100% confirmation, but I noticed when I was putting this together, there were so many dudes and like no women. So like I didn't want it to just be like a dude's sort of only thing. I wanted to put women in. So that's why you have a Christy Swanson. That's why you have a Paula Dean.
That's why we have
Like
these women coming up that I see.
a couple more women there. Well, one of them is obvious, but like a couple other
Yeah,
women are just like it can't just be only dudes, you know?
sure. So where are you seeing that she is? I've never.
So
This is the first I've heard of
well,
this.
first she's married to a country guy. And second, she's like on all these like new like Christian fascist like adjacent stuff. She's like sharing messages from like these Christian fascist people. And like it's just like everything's pointing towards her being MAGA, but she just
Mm,
hasn't come out right and said it.
mm.
So I kind of want to go. I always kind of figured.
Oh wow.
Adam says Gwen
Uh,
Stefani did an ad for that Bible app recently. Is probably true. Like it's I read a few articles that were like she's probably MAGA, but we just don't know
okay.
for 100%.
Okay. Yeah, this is all news to me. So like, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna
But here's
ride
the
with you.
thing: she
Take your
appropriated
report.
every other culture in the
This
2000s.
is true. This is
She
true.
was a ska girl.
I
Like,
love a ska
what
girl
were
though.
the
You're
others she
talking to
wasn't?
somebody. I've loved plenty of ska girls in my life. I can't hate on that.
And how did they end up?
Okay, look.
Freaks.
Yeah, but we had beautiful moments, and it's about this. It's about the shared moments.
Hey, so did me and Gwen. I'm just a girl. Loved it. Spiderwebs. Loved it. What do we like? I like the music. She's obviously a fucking freak.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take your word on it. Like I said,
Okay, now Andrea from Sopranos. I forget her name.
yeah. I don't know her name either. That was a heartbreaking one.
Yeah, that was
That's one.
sad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put like that's too bad. I guess that's where I'm leaning. Where are you leaning?
Yeah. I mean,
Ahead of
it's not
Christy
gonna stop me
Swanson
from
though.
it. Yeah, it's not gonna stop me from enjoying The Sopranos and also
Yeah,
seeing her on screen. So
but I'm not like if somebody's in an argument about like how she's a total piece of shit, I would have to be like, oh, that's too bad. I guess I'm not gonna stick up for her. I'm not gonna say
no,
you have to separate the art from the artist. You know what I mean?
no, because I'm not gonna be like, oh, she directed Apocalypto. No, it just didn't
She didn't
happen.
do that. She didn't.
No,
She didn't. She wasn't in Videodrome. She didn't direct Apocalypto. She didn't do Cheers. She wasn't one of the Quaid brothers. She's none of the guys at the top
she was
row.
never the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. It didn't happen.
Yeah, she never told somebody that she was going to eat their children. Okay, Roseanne.
uh, uh,
I feel like she's
I'm gonna
right here
say,
with Gringo Poppy in terms of like comedy and like relevancy right now. I
when
feel
I
like
was
her
when
and
I
the
was a
Gringo
kid, we used to
Poppy
watch
have a sweet sitcom together.
we used to watch her show when I was growing up. Like that was a must
I did too,
watch.
and I loved it. But you know what I
Yeah,
realized? John Goodman kind of carries that show.
100%. Yeah,
It's like the
obviously
John
because
Goodman show, the
they
Darlene
got rid
show
of they got rid of her and they just kept it going. So it wasn't like
for like
they needed
seasons.
her.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
useful is she? She might have been the worst part of that fucking show. If they would have had a different mom, that show might have been even more of a classic.
Also, the way she disrespected our country, the way she performed that anthem.
The way
You know,
she disrespected the country with the anthem, then she disrespected that Tom McDonald song when she rapped on that too. She's the
yeah,
worst. She's
yeah,
a grotesque little freak. She's next to the Gringo Poppy. That's where I. What do you think? Fuck all the way off, or
yeah. I was gonna fuck all the way off, or basically useless. I mean,
okay? Well, I'll put
I
it down
wouldn't
here
call her
by
useless.
Sorbo then.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's useless though, because like she did create like an iconic sitcom. So it's like she did do
But
stuff.
again, that's like she got carried though.
She did. Yeah,
That's like if I'm like,
she did.
oh, the Golden State Warriors were one of the best teams of all time, 2018. It's
Hmm.
all because of like
Kevin Durant.
not even like Zaza Pachulia. He's a starting center. Nobody
Yes.
was watching for Zaza.
No, he played like 10 minutes and they quickly get him off the court.
Ted Nugent.
Fuck all the way off.
Yeah, I kind of like he's never had bangers.
Yeah.
He's always been an annoying guy. I feel like I'm gonna
Also,
put him
pedophile.
next to Callan. Oh yeah, pedophile too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him even lower. He might be lower than Victoria Jackson, which I didn't think was possible. Conor McGregor.
Who gives a shit? Basically useless, I guess, because he's not. What is he providing anymore? He's not even like delivering.
Well, he
on
was good in
UFC
Roadhouse, but otherwise he just keeps beating up people on the street and like raping people. So I want to put him even lower. I want to put him right next to Cowan. Although he has a likely shot of beating up the Liver King. Because Liver King could get beat up. He's an old guy that hangs out places, so I'm putting him just above Joe Rogan. Because there's a potential that he could fight the Liver King. And Joe Rogan is currently doing Karen moves. Joe Rogan, more like Joe Karen. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
You're onto something. You're right.
Okay, Vince Vaughn.
Art from Artist.
Yeah. Swingers I love.
Yeah.
JP2 I love. The thing is, though, I almost want to go down a bit just because it's like after like old school, when he got like his biggest peak fame, he just like he put out so much mid that I'm like, I don't even have to defend him. You know what I mean?
He was. I saw him in something recently that he was good in. He was in that one horror comedy where it was like the body swap thing, where he's a serial killer.
Yeah. And you told me that was good, huh?
It was all right, for one of the newer type of Zoomer movies.
Well, I'll take your word for it. I'll put it up there because I do like his work. And I notice I picked pre-nose job Vince Vaughn.
I didn't.
Yeah, a little tiny little button nose.
I've never looked at his nose like that. I didn't realize he had that. He got work done. I guess I have to look at it.
He had a fucked up nose.
Okay.
Okay, Kid Rock. This was also one of the inciting. We need to do this, right? Because we love Ba with the Ba.
Yeah, that's such a great song.
I also love I Want to Be a Cowboy, baby.
Yeah.
So I guess like Met, I always kind of figured like him next to Gwen.
Yeah.
I kind of like it too because like we have a bunch of people with goofy hats and too much makeup after that.
Yeah. And is Kid Rock in the WWE Hall of Fame? He should be for that song.
Yeah, he'll get there.
Right next to his boy, The Undertaker.
Now we have Candice Bure or DJ from Full House.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, so her brother is Kirk Cameron, and you know what I thought was fucked up? Kirk Cameron didn't make any of the lists. That's like weird. I don't know if he's pro-Trump or not, but nobody seems to give a fuck.
There's no way he's not pro-Trump. Yeah, there's
like
no
his
way.
Little sister is, but you know what's crazy though is like
no shot.
I'm gonna put her next to Roseanne because she was also on a sitcom that she got carried.
She definitely got carried.
You know what I mean?
Uncle Jesse carried that show.
She got carried by Saget, by Coulier, by Stamos. She got carried by fucking Michelle, dude. She got carried by Stephanie. She was the worst part of a hilarious show.
I'm glad Stamos isn't on here because he's someone who you told me. If you would have told me he's MAGA now, I'd be like, damn.
I don't know if he is. I don't think so. But there's a lot of Stamos connections on here. You got Mike Love. You got DJ.
That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of like bringing me. I'm wondering if he is. I hope he's not.
Yeah, I kind of want to check now. Okay, this fucking guy, Adam Carolla.
I fucking hate him.
Yeah, me too. I want to say fuck all the way off, just because he's like he's always annoyed me.
He's annoying.
Like he made me he's so annoying. He made me dislike Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, America's sweetheart.
Who's sticking the late night.
Love it.
Who's like one of the greatest guys of all time. Like a super hilarious guy.
Yeah. Dean Cain.
The GOAT Superman, Dean Cain.
I never watched that show, so
I watched like a few episodes of it, and he's like probably my favorite Superman, unironically. He just has aura that like Christopher Reeves doesn't have, George Reeves didn't have, David Cornsweat couldn't even imagine having.
What about Cavill?
Oh, Cavill had it. Cavill definitely had it. But
I don't have any attachment or connection to Dean Cain, so I don't really. To me, it's like, who gives a shit?
But I'm gonna say he's right next to Chachi because I feel like they both are equally useless, but they've also to credit to Dean Cain, he's been on this shit for as long as Chachi has. You know what I mean? Like they are guys who were like When it was unpopular to be MAGA, they were MAGA. Before MAGA even existed, they were MAGA. Like
They're ride or die.
they've been shitheads for so long. It's like it was like, I said like there was the grifters and then there's like the guys who are like dyed in the wool. They believe this shit and they're just like fundamentally bad people. Like that's who he is. So and I respect that on some level. Like you're wrong and you're an asshole, but like you're yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Phil. I feel like he's like down here too. Like I hate him.
Yeah, I hate him. I mean, I would say, he's not useless because he does a lot of damage. So
Des says Jake a tier above Logan. Interesting. Well, you missed it, Des, because the reason he's a tier above is because he has an opportunity to beat up the Liver King. And he's also had a bad older brother who was mean to him. So, like, it's I feel a little bit bad for him. Like he didn't.
I feel like I blame
mentorship.
I blame Logan for Jake.
Yeah,
a little bit. Not totally.
Like every bad thing Jake has done is just a reflection of Logan, who's worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like if one of these two guys are likely to become a good person on accident, it's Jake, not Logan. Logan's always going to be a shithead. Jake might have a chance one day if like the CTE just like kicks in so hard that it like reverses course,
Because the difference between the two is when I hear Jake talk, I feel like he's easily influenced. So if he was around the right people, he's might malleable. Actually. Yeah. Logan's just like a fucking scumbag.
They're both pieces of like. Here's the thing, Des. Des is fair point. Okay, fair enough. Here's the thing, though. They're both bad. This is like who's the best Raiders quarterback of the last 20 years? I don't know. They all stink. They're all terrible. But like, it's the levels of how bad they are. It's like, do you really think DeMarcus Russell is worse than Derek Carr? I don't know. That's two bad options. One was shitty for a little bit of time, but he was so shitty, concentrated, versus Derek Carr was bad for like a whole long period, He like broke records being one of the worst to ever do it. So there's that.
Fresno State's own Derek Carr.
Shout out. Also MAGA. But like I said, he's not on the list because if we counted every quarterback that's MAGA, we'd be here all night.
Yeah, we don't want to talk
I almost put Nick Bosa on the list because he's not a quarterback. But I also thought like he's also not that relevant because he's not elite anymore. Yeah. Maybe if he was still elite, I could have a reason to put him on the list, but he's not elite.
No, he needs to be carried. He needs another defensive end to help carry him.
It's sad but true. Like a Metallica song. And then lastly, Amber Rose. Every rose has its thorn. And hers is that she's MAGA.
Yeah. She's so irrelevant.
Yeah, I feel like who gives a shit, basically useless, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to put her right ahead of Kevin Sorbo, who's like a dumb bitch. And I feel like she, like her similar to like Jake Paul is like just so malleable. I almost want to have her above these two though.
Yeah, because she just did it recently, right? And then she was on there with like that MAGA rapper, and she's like just drifting now.
You see this insane comment, by the way? Brother, if the Derek Carr was the 49ers quarterback, they would have never made the Super Bowl. Because when I used to watch the Raiders and Derek Carr played, he would always do this shit. He would try to extend a play, put his arm out like this with holding the ball, and then fumble it at the 1 yard line. I've seen him do it like 12 times. Sometimes he would even like break his fucking leg when he was doing it. It's like, how do you do that?
That's how he ended his career. He dove forward and put his hands out, and he like fucking fucked up his shoulder, and now he can't.
So do I think he would have got the Super Bowl a quarterback? I mean, he would have got the Niners a Super Bowl? No, he wouldn't have done that. He would have failed out of the league just like he did now. He does as well, yes, but I don't even know who the Raiders quarterback is right now. Who is it again?
Oh, Geno Smith, your boy.
Geno.
Yeah.
One of the worst to ever do it.
That's not true. He had your number.
He had our number. We beat him like
Yeah.
every time we played him.
We did. I thought he beat you guys a couple times.
We fucked it. We owned him in like the playoffs. They were like, "Oh, Brock Purdy can't beat Geno Smith. Geno's a seasoned guy. Brock's a rookie, and it's raining." And
That's right. I forgot
Brock
about
said, "I'm gonna dice him up." Writing off Geno Smith. No, I know how this goes.
that.
I know how it goes too. Interception, fourth quarter, end the game.
I'm right with Gino. I think Gino can get them into the playoffs.
But here's our list. Is there anything that looks soft to you, Tony?
No, I think that's pretty spot on. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing where I might take issue is the Hollywood Hulk Hogan not being the highest form of art, and therefore separating art from artist. But other than that, you know, it's just I guess it's just how much I love professional wrestling. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitive MAGA
It's making me wait while it generates an image. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. That was the MAGA tier list. Des said Rob Schneider quite high. Again, Des, you missed it. This goes way. This is personal. This goes back to me learning my multiplication tables. You know, go back. It's a very beautiful, heartwarming story. It's not because I'm just like the biggest Rob Schneider fan. It's definitely not because he was wearing a Warriors hat in that photo.
It's because you love Deuce Bigelow so much.
Hate that movie.
You know, he's a male gigolo.
But you know what? Let's not talk about love. Let's talk about hate. I mean, no, let's not talk about hate. Let's talk about love. Because it's wedding season. People are getting married right now, I think. I don't know when people actually get married. Like, I don't know if it's now or later or whatever. But I have wedding stories. So let's get through these. We'll get through. I have more stories too. Should we save Marriage Week for next week?
Okay.
And we'll do some shorter stories right now? Or should we just do the... Well, how do you feel?
Let's do Marriage Week next
stories
week.
That are... You know what? Yeah, because there's one that's kind of... There's one that's kind of wild. What's that?
Is there a delay?
Maybe. Let it catch up.
Mm-hmm. I'd say let's do marriage stories next week. Let's do the shorter ones and bag them out.
Australian man charged with cattle theft after $100,000 load of bull semen found.
Load.
Bull semen worth $100,000 is part of a haul of allegedly stolen Wagyu cattle uncovered by police in regional Australia. A 34-year-old man from Grafton in northern New South Wales faces 20 charges, including cattle theft and obtaining financial advantage after allegedly stealing more than 100 cattle from his employer. A vet allegedly contracted by the 34-year-old also faces animal cruelty charges for failing to provide treatment to some of his cattle. The cattleman was asked by his boss to sell 200 cattle, but is accused of arranging to sell 114 of the animals, including 45 valuable full-blooded Wagyu cows, to himself in 2024. Police allege the sale led to the discount of almost $100,000 after the man bought the herd through a third party at a greatly reduced cost. Detective, I love cow stories, by the way. This kind of animal husbandry stuff is what really gets me going. Because, I have a background raising pigs.
Future farmers.
Yeah.
Famously.
Police alleged the sale led to a discount, blah, blah, blah. Detective Chief Inspector Cameron Whiteside from NSW Police's Rural Crime Prevention Team said a rural crime police found a unit, codenamed Strike Force Newberry. I love that they're just investigating like stolen cow cum, and they're like, what should we call ourselves? Should we call ourselves the Cow Spunk Command Unit? Though, let's call ourselves Strike Force. That's the name.
Yeah, it's a very Hot Fuzz type thing.
Yeah. He said police conservatively estimated the value of each cow about $3,000.
Wow.
A search warrant allegedly uncovered a liquid nitrogen storage tank containing the bull's semen. Whiteside said the semen was worth about $100,000 due to the value of Wagyu beef. We're talking hundreds of $1,000s, but that's just on face value. Then you've got to look at the future benefit or the breeding capabilities also. Embryos for breeding were also part of the alleged cow haul. After searching the 34-year-old's property, police had allegedly told him to seek treatment from a veterinarian for 6 Wagyu bulls. The police said the vet produced false documents that said he had treated the cattle without doing so and that the 2 bulls later died. The vet has been charged with committing an aggravated act of criminal cruelty and failing to provide vet treatment.
If you told me Liver King was mixed up in this, I'd believe you.
Yeah, he was eating the livers.
For real. He's trying to gargle that bull semen.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not going to talk bad about Liver King on this podcast because
I think
know what he does. He talks bad about other people on their podcast.
No, I think I'd support Liver King 100% in his endeavors. I feel like he's in the right here.
He's been in the right. Liver King, if you're listening, if you're watching to the #1 non-comics comics podcast, New Cool Meat, by the way, your host Ramon Villalobos, co-host Tony Gregori, forgot to finish the intro. If you're listening, just know we have your back. You know? And Joe Rogan, if you're listening, be a man.
We hate you.
Be a man, do what's right, fight the Liver King. Not for us, for your children. So that they know their daddy isn't just like covering himself with security guards and police. Stronger men. Be an alpha.
I think he needs an alpha brain.
Yeah, he could use an alpha brain for sure. Whiteside said there were several moving parts to a complex investigation which required the assistance of 5 horse-mounted police to execute warrants and specialist rural crime police from across the state. Aside from two primary investigators, officers from New England Dubbo and Southern NSW also assisted. Whiteside described the alleged offending as quite complex. 34-year-old is charged with 20 offenses, including cattle theft, animal cruelty, and obtaining financial advantage by deception. So what do you think they do with that cow semen?
I mean, they can probably still use it to inseminate lady cows, right?
Yeah, but like, I wonder if he was jacking off the cows, like if that was his work that he did it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or if he stole it from the person who just had a tank of cow semen.
I think he probably just stole. You think he did it himself? I don't know. I feel like he just probably jacked somebody. Not literally.
Yeah, he did jack somebody. Them cows.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like. Listen, this man was clearly running a complex, like, situation. I feel like if he stole the cows, like, you're already stealing all these cows. Like, where are you putting the fucking cow semen? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
You have to store it in a cool place, right? So,
yeah. So maybe it is just, you know.
Takes a lot of balls to do that.
Okay. Speaking of animal crimes, 2 young bears escaped from their closure at a UK wildlife park and devoured a week's worth of bull semen. No. Of honey.
Oh, it's cute.
They devoured 2 weeks worth of food store honey before falling asleep, the park said on Tuesday.
I love that. That's beautiful. That's yeah. It's like some Paddington shit. They were just
a fun little story, you know. I mean, not everything has to be about shitheads and pieces of garbage and shit, you know.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mish and Lucy, both aged 4, got out of their enclosure on Wildwood Devon in southwestern England on Monday afternoon. The pair made a beeline. Get it? Made a beeline for their food store where they scoffed snacks, including a 7-day supply of honey, a park statement said. The park released video of Lucy devouring the honey and looking very pleased with herself. The bears pose no threat to the public at any point, although visitors on site were escorted to a secure building as precaution. During the hour-long drama, the bears were continuously monitored both on the ground and via CCTV until they were returned to their enclosures by keepers and promptly fell asleep, Wildwood added. Our experienced keeping team acted immediately, following established safety protocols, and successfully used the recall training to encourage both bears back into their enclosure without the need for any intervention, the park said. Police were at the scene, and an investigation was underway to determine how the animals managed to break out, the park said. The park said an operational error allowed the bears to escape without elaborating. This is like, imagine if in Jurassic Park, instead of the T-Rex doing what he did, or she did, if she just like ate a bunch of shit and then ate a bunch of goats and just fell asleep, that would be adorable.
It would be adorable. I'm going to say that the first thing that came to my mind was I'm glad this didn't happen in America.
Why?
Because those bears would have got, yeah, they would have killed them. They would have shot those bears dead.
It would have been Harambo Part 2.
Yeah.
Peace to Harambo. Police were at the scene of it, and an investigation was underway to determine how the animals managed to break out, the park said. An operational error allowed the bears to escape without elaborating. This was an isolated incident, and we're conducting a full internal investigation. And it just goes on about how big the park is. But yeah, love the idea of the bears breaking out and just like passing out, just like full of honey.
Yeah, just chilling with full bellies.
Let me see if this video plays. Let's see. It's a real... No, this shit sucks because I can't control the volume. It's going to blast out my ears. One last story before we take off. People keep being struck by lightning.
Oh, wow.
4 reports in 24 hours. At least 4 reports. At least 4 people were struck by lightning over a time span of roughly 24 hours on June 19th and 20th as summer thunderstorm pummeled parts of the nation. And now here's a list of all the people that got struck by lightning. A 15-year-old boy survived being struck by lightning in Central Park in New York City on the afternoon of June 19th, according to reports by AccuWeather and media outlets in the area. The following day, on June 20th, 3 men experienced jolts in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. You know where this is?
New Smyrna?
New Smyrna?
I think that's how you pronounce it.
You know where that is?
I think that is in the northeast.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
East Central Coast?
What's that?
Apparently it's the east on the state's east central coast.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I figured it was. It's like...
Or like around Tampa?
No. Tampa's on the west side, so it would be up like...
You're right. Daytona?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, close to there.
Anyhow, a 29-year-old Colorado man standing in the ocean in ankle-deep water around 12:30 was critically injured by a lightning strike, according to Tammy Malfers, director of Volusia County Beach Safety Ocean Rescue. The bystander and lifeguards immediately started life-saving measures, but the victim was unresponsive when taken from the scene to a hospital, authorities said. Later that afternoon, about 8 miles inland, 2 men on the Venetian Bay golf course were jolted when lightning struck nearby, but neither of them were taken to the hospital, a local television station. The lightning injuries occur just as the 25th annual National Lightning Safety Awareness Week kicks off on June 22nd. Dude, they miss it just by a few days. It's a good time to remember that dangers exist, said John Jensenius, lightning specialist with the National Lightning Safety Council. By the way, what an insane council. What are they doing all the time? Like,
tell people to go inside when there's a lightning storm.
That's crazy. They have a whole council, and he's a lightning specialist. How special can you be at that?
Man, I was walking home the other day, and it was thundering and lightning, and like, you know, if I hear it, and then you count till you see the flash, you can tell how close it was. You know, and it was like maybe like 5 seconds on this one lightning, and I just started speed walking over the bridge because I can't stand like thunder and lightning. They always like get me paranoid. And the whole time I was just thinking about Tony Fleece. I'm just power walking like
our boy.
Our boy. But then there's other people around me who are just casually walking, just going about their day like there's not a thunderstorm overhead. And
they haven't been paying attention to the National Lightning Safety Awareness Week. That's this week. Or this last week. They just passed.
Do you ever think that when it's thunder and lightning and you're outside and you're like, oh, I better get in. You see everyone else like just kind of acting like nothing's happening, and you're like, don't you know what's going on? Like, shouldn't you be going for
Not
cover?
really, but we don't get too much thunder and lightning in California.
I guess in Florida we had it all the time,
Yeah.
so it was like, so maybe I'm
But
just
we're
doing
about to
weird.
enter peak of the lightning season across the U.S., Jen Sensius said. With an increased lightning activity and the increase in people enjoying outdoor activities, we typically see an increase in lightning fatalities from late June through August. On June 8th, Spencer Loalbo, a 41-year-old father of three, and his father were golfing in Gunter, Texas, when they were hit by a single lightning bolt from a single storm cloud, authorities said. Dude, that's like bad luck. That's like a hole-in-one for lightning.
Have you ever been near a lightning strike before?
I don't know.
I have one time. We took a friend's boat out down in Florida, and afterwards we went to a car wash place to wash the boat, and it started thundering and lightning, and we were washing the boat, and it struck like a nearby trash receptacle near us, and
Dang.
like yeah, it was like
Did it
every
catch fire?
hair. Oh yeah, it caught fire. There was like a fucking spark and explosion thing,
It's
and
crazy.
like yeah, and all the hair stood up on my neck and like my face because I had none on my head,
Let me tell
and
you
it was
something. If
just
I
I
was
was
by
just
lightning
rattling.
strike, I didn't know it.
Oh, you know, because it rattles your teeth. It's just like,
Then no.
yeah, scary.
On June 8th, Spencer Loalbo. I said this. Loalbo was killed in quote the blink of an eye, stated a GoFundMe raiser set up for his wife and daughters. The father was critically injured and taken to a hospital. Spencer Loalbo's death was the third lightning fatality in the United States this year. Golf has contributed to about 3% of lightning deaths since 2006, according to data compiled by Jenna Sensius. But you know what's crazy? Is that
I
like
mean,
3% isn't that much.
too.
I
It's
feel
a
like
it's a
if
sport
I
where
I
you're
would
holding,
imagine like golfing would be
yeah, because
yeah,
you're holding a metal rod up in the air.
you're
Is like
holding
you're
right.
asking for it. You're literally asking for it.
Fishing contributes to more deaths than any other activity, and it's already led to 2 lightning deaths this year. And we have the list. You want to hear from most to least likely, like the number of deaths this year for lightning? Oh,
Like
sorry,
what
this
the
is from
activity
between
was.
2006. This is for like almost 20 years. So we
This
know
is like
fishing is
the
number one.
okay,
Number two is just beach, just
just
like
beach.
being at a beach,
Okay.
just doing like beach shit, like Ken in the Barbie movie.
hmm
He's the best at beach. Uh, Third is boating, which is how you almost got it.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. 25 deaths, 5%. Next is farming or ranching. That's how I would have got done up. Because
hmm
as you know, former future farmer of America, I worked on a ranch. I was doing all that shit. Next is camping. I feel like that one will be higher too because of the
Yeah.
tent. I would
Yeah, and you're
imagine.
kind of stuck. Like you're like, where do you go for cover? You go in the tent or you go under a tree? I mean, it's all kind of.
But I bet it also just like lightning's less in the woods for some reason. I would imagine just because like
Isn't that how a lot of forest fires get started?
allegedly I thought it was the Democrats.
Antifa.
Is Antifa. Next is roofing, which seems to like that checks out. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Riding a bicycle, motorcycle, or ATVs is 20. Social gathering is 19. Just like being in a
Yeah.
place with other people. Then construction, social gathering. That's probably what you would count for Tony's, right? For like, because he was at a choir camp.
Oh, that's that where he was. I forgot the specifics about why he was there.
Yeah, him and his friend were out frolicking, like away from the other campers that were there for choir, and then he got struck by lightning. Construction is next. Headed to or from or waiting for a vehicle, then yard work, then golf at just 14 deaths.
Mhm. That's crazy low for golf.
Was that?
That's crazy low for golf.
Yeah, I would imagine more. 42 lightning deaths have been reported in Texas since 2006, second only to what state?
Florida.
That's right, where 93 deaths have been attributed to lightning over the same time span.
Number 2 with a rocket, baby.
Is the Florida Lightning a team?
No, Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
Several hundred people are injured by lightning each year. Most survive, but many have lifelong neurological symptoms. I always knew that they did too. If you're going to be outside, it's important to remain alert for changing weather conditions, according to the Safety Council, National Weather Service. Plan in advance where you seek shelter, and if you hear thunder, go indoors. How do people get struck in lightning? In 4 ways: direct strike, side flash, ground current, and conduction. It goes into how this is. It becomes like an informative thing about how to avoid getting hit by lightning. But this isn't a mental health podcast, so we're not going to talk about that. We're going to save these other marriage stories for next week. Then I got to save these. Yeah. So, you got anything else you want to?
No, just congratulations to Zoran. And
oh, big time. Oh yeah. We were gonna give Zoran that guy of the week because last week we decided to start giving people like that guy of the week. It was the guy who got up on the machete and started like swinging at people with or got up on a gas station sign and started swinging at people with a machete. We're like, oh, he's that guy. So we wanted to give it to Zoran because he just did something very spectacular. He upset the Cuomo political dynasty in New York, disrupted New York politics. But this week we cannot give him that guy of the week because that guy of the week goes to who?
Liver King.
That's right. Shout out to Liver King. You're that guy of the week. You carried the manic sort of the manic force of nature energy that we look for.
Yeah.
So it's Liver King over Zoran just slightly.
Slightly.
But we actually like Zoran. That's the problem. It's like we're conflicted because we like Zoran. We love Zoran. I love just saying his name. But the Liver King sort of displayed that like force of nature that we're looking for when we're picking that guy of the week. But hey, listen. Zoran, there's still plenty of time to become the mayor. To be that guy of the week. It's very possible he can become the guy of the week later in the year.
He's got a shot.
Just not right now. Just not quite yet. Anyways, you got anything else? You got something to promote or anything? Or?
No, man. Just make some dinner.
Yep. I'm going to do that too. Listen, thank you guys for joining us this week. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun as always. We hope that you have a great week this next week, and we'll be here again next week for you guys to talk about not comics or politics, because that's not what we talk about here.
Nope.
Have a good week, and if you like the video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Talk to you guys later.